Hello everyone and welcome to Random Number Generation. I'm Skybilz, I'm going to be your host, and I am joined here by Nuclear Reaction and Spike Vegeta on commentary. We are going to be doing a Zooter 5 dungeon, and we'll get into what that means in a second here. Before we get started, folks, SGDQ 2021 Online, if you haven't heard by now, is July 4th to the 11th. Oh my gosh, if that's not exciting enough, the games list is going to be released on May 8th. Tweet at us at Games Done Quick and let us know what you're hoping to see on the games list. I'm sure there's a list 10 miles long that y'all would like to see at SGDQ. I'm looking forward to that list. SGDQ 2021 Online prize submissions. Now, where's my bud sense? Someone say prizes? They're now open, so go to GamesDoneQuick.com to find out about submitting prizes for the event. Frame Fatale, the all-women speedrunning event, will be returning on August 15th to the 21st with Flame Fatales. Gotta love those puns, gotta love that alliteration. Game submissions will be open from May 18th to the 25th. Go to GamesDoneQuick.com/FrameFatale for more info on the upcoming event. I know I'm going to be submitting some stuff, so folks, if you are eligible to submit for that, please do that. With that being said, Spike, Nukes, how y'all doing?
Thank you,
great.
Sky.
Yeah.
Wonderful as always.
Yeah.
So,
How's it going, everyone? I'm Nukes.
Yeah.
We got Spike here. You might know Spike.
It's me.
We're doing, as Sky said, we're doing Ocarina Time randomizer today. This time, this is something different that hasn't been on GDQ yet. This is kind of the new, I'd say kind of like a new thing with the Zooter community, 5 dungeon, where to spawn the bridge to get to Ganon's castle, we just need to beat any of the 5 dungeons. It doesn't matter what their rewards are. In the past, we've seen where you need to get all 6 medallions. We can get any combination of medallions and stones, just gotta beat 5 of them. Sorry, not 6.
and also, before we get started, Nukes, because I want to make sure, you're not in the heat of the game, because it is a lot at once.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell folks about the tournament stuff you've been doing and working on lately? I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, recently we just had the Blitz tourney, which was like co-hosted by Spike. He kind of helped baby that. Your girl made it to top 16, which was pretty neat.
Gamer.
That used these 5 dungeon settings, a little bit different settings we're using today. I actually added some things to this one, so we're gonna shuffle some cows.
A little bit of spiciness.
We're gonna shuffle some beans in this one today, which was not part of the Blitz. But the Blitz tourney was about a week-long tournament for this. So that's definitely been on the showcase. There's going to be more of that coming up. We're also in a Zooter multi-role tournament. Spike, Fant, and I are on a team together, but that's starting up here. The first match is this weekend. So a lot going on in the Zooter community.
Oh.
And by the way, that multi-world is coming to a random number generation near you. It will be this summer. Just previewing that now. So get excited for that. All right, Nukes, are you ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's get going here.
All right, count us in.
All right, we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Woo!
Go. Good
All right,
luck
so
and
with-
have fun.
With these settings, we start with random age, random spawn points. So normally, you're gonna start as a child, and you're gonna spawn in Kokiri Forest in Link's house. Normal Zelda stuff, but we've now randomized our age, so we're starting as an adult here, right outside of Kakariko, which is very convenient, because adult Kak has a lot of good early checks here.
Let's go ahead and fill
what
the
our
wallet
first-
just right off the bat.
First good, yeah. Gonna buy a nice shield here. Any barrels in chat, please hide.
I'm so happy.
It's just, you can't not get a shield. It's so powerful in these.
Oh, that makes my heart feel so good. Shields are way too good. And you'll see it later on with a lot of stuff like power crouch stabs, possibly some like ground gems and whatnot. Nukes will have access to because of them.
So the question on everybody's minds, are there ice chests and or traps in this scene? And how many do you think are going to be in there?
I I did not turn. I'm so used to not playing with ice now that I didn't even think to turn it on. I'm so sorry.
Well,
I'm so sorry, everyone.
That's actually the more common thing these days. is that people
that's
actually don't play with them on. So.
All tournament settings are now no ice traps. I don't know when's the last time I played with ice traps might have been a GDQ.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, that's a very common thing at a GDQ event for
Yeah.
sure. Oh, Spike.
Yo, it's our friend, the Deku Nut. She already starts with 20 of them on C right, and they are the most powerful item in the game. I will hear nothing else of it. Nukes, you'll see her nut a lot of things with that great utility item right there throughout the course of the run.
There are plenty of fresh Zooter memes. We do not need the ice to do so. We'll kind of point them out along the way. You can't have a good Zooter without some memes in it.
Yeah,
I mean, the seed itself might meme on us, so
right.
you know.
Oh yeah.
We'll see where all the
Likes to do that
items
a
are
lot.
placed.
We've seen a lot of needing strength 3 to get things recently, like the light arrows.
Oh, please God.
Uh,
the claim check. That's another difference in the Zooter Blitz tourney settings that we've turned on. We generally just want to shoot for a little bit faster settings overall, and that's one of them. Normally you could get different items in the trade sequence for the Big Goron Sword. Now it's all you find is the claim check. Really nice little see up method Nukes just used right there to see what that... Normally what is a piece of heart, but she was able to see it was just a blue rupee.
so we know we don't have to worry about planting a seed there to get there or using a long shot later on to grab an item. Don't have to worry about it. I hope we get a Pona song here so I can show you all the cows they're on, but sometimes I turn on the cows and we don't ever have to worry about them.
Oh, that's right. We got that's the Nuke specialty.
I want cows to be more normalized in Zooter seeds. I never see people play with cows.
So I assume then that makes a Pona song more powerful because you need that, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely makes it more powerful. Give you some more checks behind that one. There are only like what?
No,
I got you refresh.
Just flexing.
Big flex energy. Oh my God. There's woo, all right.
I'm actually just gonna save quit out of here and buy a shield and we'll move on.
Wait, you're not on team. All right, so speaking of memes, you're not on team Never Buy a Shield. Really?
Oh no,
God.
no.
You kidding me?
You know the power of a shield in this game? That gives you your literal power crouch stab.
Yeah.
How could I not take the power?
I'm so glad that the first notable item you're gonna have in this game is a Hylian shield. Love it. You also get a discount on these settings because technically we've already turned in the letter.
So, for those fellow Zooter players in chat, and I've seen a couple already, and on YouTube for that matter, also hey YouTube, didn't say hey, but hey, who is on Team Buy a Shield versus Team Never Buy a Shield? I mean, this is important stuff here.
I used to be on Team Never Buy a Shield, and then I realized the power I had with the shield was just too much. I couldn't not have a shield.
So while we're wandering across Hyrule Field here, I remember, Nukes, that we were talking about Frame Fatale before. I believe you did a Zooter run in one of the Frame Fatale.
I did a co-op with Chelsea this last Frame Fatales.
Yeah, you two killed it. I thought that was a really, really entertaining run that the two of you got to play in.
Alright, get our lots of hint stones up here.
Yeah, let's see what the spiciness of the seed says.
Yeah.
Cow behind a web, dead. 1500's magic.
Okay.
Okay, all right, that's important.
All right.
I like it.
1500 magic. That's a cow thing, so.
That's a cow
right.
thing.
I'm writing these things down. Not a cow thing, opponent, but.
Yeah, that's an Epona thing. That was at horseback archery.
Melting King Zora is dead.
Ooh.
Alright, he's gonna stay a popsicle this
Yeah. I never heard her call it popsicle. That's good. And Nuke's also finding the first of her 3 barren hints right there. Zora's Fountain kills off about 3 checks.
Something spicy I do that no one agrees with is here you could opt to read the pedestal. Reading the pedestal is going to tell you which dungeons have which rewards. That's a waste of time to me in these settings. Other people argue it's good to have that info. I just need to beat 5 dungeons. Why do I need to know which one's going to give me what? I already have a forest medallion that gives me a song. I really don't care much about the other ones, if I'm being honest. So it's quite. That's my never buy a shield. That no one has agreed with me on that stance. But
never give me the info. I like it. I like this spiciness, and like I can argue with her on it because I'm a big reader of the pedestal. But I mean, I didn't make the top 32 bracket. Certainly didn't make top 16 of this past Blitz tourney. Nukes did, so, you know, what can I say? Yeah, also on these settings, it's kind of been more of just like a season 4 thing. You can see Nukes is already in here. She already got to start with Saria's song, which is in the Zelda's Lullaby location. So already the whole like go up to Zelda, use the pocket egg to move talent, get the song, get the letter. All that sequence is done. So she can just immediately pick up the Keaton mask. It sort of nerfs how, I guess it more so buffs the desire to do the skull mask, because you don't have to do 2 pieces of trade sequence, then you can get it. Normally a pretty slow Sphere 0 check.
Also, just with random spawn points too, that could easily put you in a position, you know, that you could turn in stuff easier depending on where that is. So definitely got buffed. Nothing too interesting yet though.
Are you doubling up on health?
We are gonna go back here. There's no checks I can get here, but we want to move the time of day, and I want to read the hint stones out here. Hint stones are just so powerful in Zooters. They're gonna give us information on areas that could have items we want, areas that are not worth checking at all, like we got the Zora's Domain, or Zora's Fountain is barren hint. All right, so there. We know Skull Mask is dead. I don't need to do that.
Well, that's good.
And knockout Skull Mask. Still a slower check. Have to run that back over the Keaton Mask up to the guard up at Kakariko, and then go by the Skull Mask again from here and turn it in.
I'm insulted.
This is all honestly just to set up time of day. Like, genuinely, you did not lose time from that.
How did I get captured there?
Yeah, that was like the edge of where you could stand with him, it looked like.
Yeah, I must have been right in the zone.
Yeah, because we know
now we're gonna be wasting a little time since we got captured, but it's okay.
Yeah, it'll be a few seconds opposed to having to wait there. Because I'm assuming you're probably trying to get Richard right here.
Yeah.
Not Richard on tech, Richard the dog. We're gonna try to get home to his mama.
Aww.
Gotta get Richard home to his mama. Well.
Oh, well,
We knew that. Sometimes the payoff is not that good, but you never know.
There's a lot of Sphere 0 checks, or checks that you can get right away without a major item, so I really appreciate the route Nukes is taking right now through this. It would have been so easy to get lost in Adult Link things, but Nukes goes back to Child Link and takes a look at some of the checks that may be forgotten about. And one of those checks that's easy to forget about is Richard the dog here.
Yep. Gotta be
here at nighttime. Sometimes he gets left behind, and it can, yeah.
Yeah, right? Nukes and I actually
I never forget Richard, for the record. All right, Richard, you didn't pay off.
Aww, but the
So since we're locked here anyway, since it's night, we're gonna pop over to the desert so we can get whatever songs out here. We can't do anything really in Spirit Temple as a kid right now, but song is good, and this is gonna let us, we're gonna save quit and see where we warp after here.
Again, that random spawn point for child and adult. She already got to see adults. Got to be up there at the base of Death Mountain Trail, going back to Kakariko.
Okay.
Okay. Don't have to worry about time of day
Convenient.
stuff.
Yeah. No very good warp songs yet, though, unfortunately. Real quick, I'm gonna check the hit stone and check what items up here. That is a bloopy.
Bloopy doopy.
So the folks at home know, who are watching this, what tricks are allowed and are not allowed in this randomizer, or in the tournament settings for that matter?
So there's various, and well, anything that's kind of like quote unquote glitchless for the most part. We have a lot of like different. Oh. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
That's convenient. Glitchless jumps we'll use. Things just like knowing like where void out zones are, so you can route around those. So like we might cross through the desert at some point.
Ooh.
We some people use hook shotless strats in some areas. I don't, but
yeah, it kind of breaks down to where, imagine it's a glitchless rule set, but if there is a sort of glitchy method that is easier than a glitchless method, they also just allow those. From like a what you're allowed to do, it's pretty standard with the standard season Zooter settings. So you'll probably see a couple times Nukes will do some things that you're definitely not intended to do, and the logic of the randomizer does not intend her to do it. But we are allowed to do it, and it can help us kind of break the seed wide open.
So
obviously anything that's like SRM, ACE.
Right.
Oh, okay. I was like, why did that song not work?
That scale may have not seemed so significant, but it is for a variety of reasons. So first of all, that scale can be used as a shortcut into Zora's River right now from the Lost Woods. It can also be used to go from like Hylia into Zora's Domain as well. So very interesting find there to start.
It's kind of nice here because, yeah, we can go ahead and just take the river when we're done in the Lost Woods here.
Another repeat of that Baron hit. Zora's found 3 items there she will not need. Also, absolutely love the warp that Nukes used back there. The Sun Song warp, very creative. Good presence of mind, what her song outlet is. Because that warps you back to your last load zone. That doesn't work in every single area, but Lost Woods is one of those.
Yeah, I will say you'll see that again coming up here. We're going to go check this scrub back here, and then we'll use the Sun Song to get us back out of this back end area that can take a while to get out when you have to climb a ladder and la-di-da-di-do.
Now you taught me something. I never thought of to use the Sun Song for that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think Nukes and I had thought about that till we were watching like Salty Sponge or something.
Salty Sponge was when I saw it, yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also, nice double defense there too. Always a good thing to find earlier in the seed.
Well, that was not a good lineup there, but
That's
we
a
wanted
hard
to-
one to get in Starlight
Yeah.
quickly, because Link sort of, when you Z-target, wants to snap onto one of the walls.
we're still in this position though where we're really looking for something. Something to help crack open the seed.
Y'all don't count the scale as something? I always thought the scale was pretty significant, but I'm very casual. Like I don't do
It helps.
tournaments or anything like
It's
that.
helpful in terms of like getting to certain areas, but is that like anything that's gonna be like, oh yes, now I have so many, more checks
Oh,
to
yeah.
get. Like bomb bag would or that good.
That's
That's a good
that is
one.
my favorite early game item. I love
Yes,
getting the hammer.
yes, mine too.
It's so good.
So
Unfortunately, we
first-
can't do anything with it as a child, but we're gonna clean up child here and then get going as adults.
Was that a shortened memory game? I'm really glad if that's the case because
Yes.
I always had a difficult time
Yes,
memorizing that.
Oh gosh, yeah, no. The early days of Zooter, you had to do the full song, and it was just,
Yeah.
who wants to sit there and do that?
You make that sound like back in my day, we had to get the entire.
We used to have to do all of Ganon's trials.
Yeah, the 1.0 days of Zooter was... It was interesting, and people have a much more nostalgic thought process of it.
Yeah, the early versions of this, you had to get all 10 big Poes for that check.
Oh.
You always had to complete all of Ganon's trials, which requires golden gauntlets, which often turned out you would be ending the seed running around trying to find golden gauntlets so that you could finish the trials.
Mm-hmm.
So that being turned off helps cut off a lot of that mess. We need to make sure we go to Lake Hylia. Just remember that.
Have a question for y'all. Does the randomizer prevent against total blocks?
Yes. So the way it's set up, we always say it kind of assumes you are gonna make the worst possible decisions. So like, for example, there's certain ways you can use keys and certain temples that will lock you out of checks if you do like the keys wrong. Temporarily lock you out. They're never gonna like completely, you know, if you mess up your keys, you're never gonna be in a position where you can't finish the game. And they're never gonna put items in a way that you wouldn't be able to finish the game. Of course, some of that comes down to settings, but so you could set things in a certain way that if you enable a trick, for example, that you don't know how to do, you could be locking yourself out, but...
Yeah, and a lot of being good at competitive Zooter is always keeping in mind, what is the seed wanting me to do? And then being able to predict off of that. Like I know, Nukes, you had in one of your tournament matches, you were able to tell exactly where your first bomb bag was supposed to be and saying, I don't need it because I had bomb shoes. Like stuff like that. Like being able to keep that stuff in mind is very, very important. Being able to take that logic and use it for your own advantage routing-wise.
And that's why reading the hint stones are really important too, because a lot of it in the competitive scene is knowing how to interpret the hints. Kind of figuring out, okay, what this area is quote unquote a way of the hero area. What might be locked there? Do I really need to go get there to get that item, or could I maybe forego that and put myself at an advantage? For example, like what Spike said, one race I was rocking bomb shoes, and I read the logic to think, oh, that area probably has my bomb bag. I don't have a bomb bag yet. But I don't need a bomb bag to finish the seed. I have all these bomb shoes. So I was able to save time by cutting out that area.
Nukes did a nice job of routing in all this South Hyrule stuff. Getting a bunch of these Sphere Zeros out of the way. There's 2 more checks out here at Gerudo Valley, as Child should be able to pick up. And then, assuming she'll go to Lake Hylia, which is Way of the Hero. And what the Way of the Hero means is that is something that, at least by the logic of the seed, she needs in order to beat it. So, something there. Inherently on these settings, all she needs is at least bow, magic, and lights. But there could be things that lock your bow, magic, and lights to kill Ganondorf, because as long as she can beat any of 5 of the 8 dungeons, then she can get to Ganon.
And so I assume it has to be a dungeon with a boss and an item at the end. For example, I assume it can't be beneath the well.
Yes, that's a good clarification we should have made. Oh!
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do 1500.
Nice.
That's nice. That's kind of an annoying one to go out and do, so I appreciate that.
I love this interface. We have the aqua buttons, we have the purple hearts, and the pink magic meter. That's pretty.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
yes.
randomized stuff is good, yeah.
And always somehow, I maybe had 1 or 2 in all of my zoo.
Ooh. Man,
Oh, that's
good
that's
valley.
I maybe had 1 or 2, like, color combinations that were not aesthetically pleasing. I don't know if this is something they somehow programmed for it to like look nice, because it feels that way a lot of the time.
So we were referencing earlier that it's a good idea to take a look at those Sphere Zero checks, even if you begin in adult age Link. And right here, Nuke's just making really awesome decisions here, checking out those child Sphere Zero checks.
Yeah, I think the routing here has been really good.
Yeah.
It's going to work even better with her scale she's got and whatnot, so.
Hoping to see a good item here now, but
I'm trying to think about the most optimal 5 dungeons you could do. I would assume the 3 child dungeons, although Jabu takes like the jaws of life to begin and finish. Like
Jabu's just usually difficult to get out to. It takes a lot of time to get out there. You always are gonna see Dodongos. I'd be surprised if you didn't do Dodongos in one of these. Ganon's Castle being Baron's really, really big.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
She's had that. No lights in the light trial today. Good.
Yeah, that's an ugly thing we've seen a lot where, and I mentioned this before, like needing strength 3 to get something. Oh.
I like the look of that item.
We like that.
Yo, so, you know what, Sky, we weren't giving the scale enough credit. No, you're right. The scale's great.
You're right.
I love the scale. Every time I see the scale, something good happens. If it's right at the beginning of a seed, maybe I'm superstitious, but it's always been good to me. That's wild.
And to note, a lot of these settings I have turned on free Scarecrow song. Normally you have to talk to Pierre the Scarecrow over there as a child and then as an adult to get his song, but you need to get a couple checks. I opt to turn it just on for this so that way we don't have to... Oh, shoot. Did not keep track of my money. Does this have money? No.
You probably have to go to the grass over there if you want it.
Oh, wow. Do we just leave it?
We just, I mean, you already got the hook shot, so that was almost
I know, that's
guaranteed
why
to
I'm
be
like,
zero.
this is not... Oh, wait, there's money down here. What? Is there a blue one down here?
We diving
On the fly.
We diving for pennies?
Money routing. Money routing is... You know what?
I say you could go. Yeah. I was gonna
We're
say.
just gonna go in here. I think we're just gonna accept that we're not gonna do child fishing.
Don't need it. When has anything good ever been on child fishing? I think it had
we're
the
gonna-
hammer in the qualifier for the
I'm
blister.
gonna have Richard replay that saying in a couple hours when that becomes relevant.
Yeah, some really good items here. Already have your magic, you got a hook shot, you got strength, you got a hammer. I'm just happy with this stuff. What would you say is kind of the biggest thing you'd like to see right now in addition to all this stuff?
I mean, bow would be good because we just need a bow. That also would let us do Forest Temple, so bow would be a good item in general, but
So, I don't know if this pertains to Zooter, but I played Z1R for quite a number of years. I always, again, could be a superstition, I always get afraid of front-loaded seeds. Like, it's like you get the 3 gifts,
Oh,
right?
yes.
And then after that, it's 2 hours later. What was the last time I got something relevant? Oh yeah, everything was in the first 20 minutes,
Yep.
that's right.
yeah, that's when I always get scared that I'm like, my light arrows are going to be somewhere horrible. I'm gonna spend some time running around looking for something. I think the thing is with front-loaded seeds, you get access to so many checks early on that things that are technically a lower sphere, there's so many of them. So you could easily overlook something, I think,
Yeah, it
by
gets
just how
particularly
fast you're going.
It gets particularly tempting to skip stuff like maybe Skull Mask, Chickens, and Kakariko, some of these slower checks, because you have access to so many other checks now. But you think to yourself, okay, I don't have to do these slower early spheres. And again, Nukes is just trying to beat any 5 dungeons right now, in addition to finding her bow and her lights. Probably can't beat any dungeons yet, but she's pretty close to like 3.
Oh, never buy a shield.
The Dang it.
That was me. I am team never buy a shield here.
Yeah, I would have saved
Preaching it.
Pam.
Oh goodness, I love the memes behind this randomizer. It's so much fun. It's not that there's a right and a wrong thing. It's just funny to see the memes unfold.
Oh,
as the seed
absolutely.
does, you know.
My boy Wooden Barrel says never buy a shield. I value it too much.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off what we were just saying though about skipping checks, I'm honestly not gonna go check child fishing now because I didn't have the money when I was there. And routing wise, it doesn't make sense for me to dip back that long of a time to go get that one check, especially if I was in a race. That would be such a waste of time. That's nice to see the bomb shoot.
That's nice.
Which means I can go beat Dodongo's Tavern now with those.
That is go mode for one dungeon.
Someone said never buy a barrel.
Never buy
a barrel.
That's what we like to hear. That's right.
I love Wooden Barrel.
He's our boy. We love Barrel.
Here's Forest.
Ooh. Did we? Well, the scales.
The
right?
scale to get to the hook
Was
shot.
that in?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was in Kokiri. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That was in Mido's house. I had to think about that for a second myself. I'm like, wait. Yeah.
What did we find? Yeah, because there's only one check left there that she hasn't discovered. And you'll
That's
need
why.
to discover.
Well, that's why I was racking my brain to see what did we find there. Did we find something? Because if we didn't, I knew I had to make the Song of Storms check that's still over there priority. All right, we have to run back up with a little Kuko here. The other thing I did turn on is shuffled beans, so we're gonna need some more money going down the river again. But our bean boy over here is actually gonna give us a random item for 60 rupees instead of selling us individual beans. So we're gonna check him out while we're here too.
Spicy.
That also puts the beans shuffled in randomly with the items, but it's just what instead of being 10 separate items, they're now just a 10 pack altogether.
Oh yeah, I just thought about this. All right, what is the over/under of us finding Greg? And that is the green rupee of eternal glory. There's only one of them. I forgot about Greg. That's right.
Hopefully he's not chilling in Ganon's castle, already eliminated for us.
No, don't say that about Greg.
I'm hoping he's not. I don't know. Does GDQ run any predictions? Will we find Greg?
I don't know if we run predictions. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Apparently, yes. Yes. So let's do it. Let's do a prediction about Greg.
Greg.
You want Greg too? Except if you're looking for something key and you find Greg, then I tend to curse Greg if I find it and I really need something.
Oh, I need. You know what? Beans. They're too much.
They're too
Bye.
much?
Too expensive.
Oh no, poor beans.
Who needs it?
This is what I
Yeah.
get for buying a shield.
Hey, I'm not judging. I'm just
all
telling
you
you. what-
shield lovers, you free shield lovers out there, you can be cursing my name right now. We're leaving the bean salesman.
Yeah, thankfully there is the storms check you get from the frogs right there. So there's a little bit of density potentially if she wants to play back to that. But it's another thing,
Well-
honestly, you might say like, oh, she's leaving some stuff behind. I love when Zooter players take risks. Because checks in this game, like, they're not linked to the past checks or Zelda 1 checks. It takes 12 seconds. Like, there are a lot of times, they're like 40 seconds, a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes for some of these checks. So to make the aggressive call to skip them, a lot of times, especially on these settings where I think it pays out a little more to play aggressively because you can beat any 5 dungeons and you could miss an item, I think it's really good. Now, that being said, maybe that was like, I don't know, but the only bow in the game she can find.
All right, well, we at least got to pay for some chickens.
Oh, yeah.
Fun fact, did you know that the chickens that are the right chickens to pick peck deeper?
Really?
Yeah,
into
this
the ground.
was more weed.
So you look for the chickens that peck deep. I just found this out very recently, actually. And it's hard. It takes a little bit to learn what. Like, it's very, very slight, but there is in fact a difference.
I never knew that, so I appreciate knowing that. Certainly, I am that person. Every now and then, I'll miss that minigame and I'll feel silly about it.
Yeah, that. I think we just learned about that during like our multi-world tournament practice. Someone told us that. We went,
No, I told you that.
oh, you told me that. That's what it was. Okay.
Good job,
That's,
Nukes.
so it
I
was
appreciate
during
the
that,
call
but
out.
you told me. Yeah. Okay.
All right, there we go. That's a good thing to have right now.
Yeah, the big ZL, the best song in the
That's a very important song. Unlocks a lot of checks.
I love it. This is one of the many reasons why I love working with Nukes here. Nukes will call something out the way it is, and I always appreciate that so much.
I'm a very straight shooter.
It's like, yeah, Spike, you should know that.
I remember being told it during our multi-world practice. I forgot it was from you.
Again, folks, if you do want to find Nukes' stream, !RNG will not only give you a place to figure out where to play the randomizer, but also give you a nice convenient link there to Nukes' channel. Please go give Nukes a follow. That's twitch.tv/nuclear_reaction. And for those of you on YouTube, that is twitch.tv/NUKKULAR_ and then reaction. Please give Nukes a follow.
We do a lot of, if you like the Zooter, I do a lot of this on my channel. As I said, we're preparing for the multi-world tourney right now with Spike.
That's me.
And Fant. They are not
Spike and
combined
Span,
beings.
dude.
They are two separate beings still. Why am I walking all the way out of here? Also, right now, if it is still the month of May for you, which if you're in the YouTube verse, maybe it's not, but if it's still May for you, Spike and I are actually doing right now what we're calling the Mario Party Bash, where Spike and I are playing through almost all of the Mario Party boards. It's been a lot of fun, so if you like the little chemistry going on between us here, little nuclear sass.
I love it.
There's a lot of that going on both of our channels right now as well.
Yeah, that's been a ton of fun. We are almost through Mario Party 2, and we're finding out so far that Mario Party 2 is much better than Mario Party 1.
So there was a brief question in chat. Are we doing cow standing? I believe we are doing cows, right?
We are.
Cow checks? Yeah.
You do need. The tell is when you go into that little silo in the back. If the cows are separated, you know that it's cow sanity. However, we do need Epona's song to get the items from the cows. So as of now, they are completely useless to us, unfortunately. But I really hope we can check some cows with this seed. I turned it on so that you guys could see us sing to the cows, but that is also a setting I play with all the time, though, cows and beans. So if we don't see it today, I'll definitely have some cow action on my stream.
Some cow action.
Cow
baby.
and beans. Yeah, like cow and beans. It sounds like a plate of some kind.
Right. Cows and beans. The new
Lot of
nuclear
protein.
reaction special. Come on down for some cow and beans.
Yo, never buy a shield. It continues. I'm
got-
voting tonight
That's
on
the
that.
freebie shield. That's the freebie shield.
Our third Deku shield. Now, Mirror Shield would be cool to see. Push us towards another potential dungeon that Nukes could beat.
We did also, if those of you who missed it, we got a 20 pack of chews,
Yeah,
which I just saw going through that menu, which is very, very nice. I believe that's the biggest pack you can get. Is it
Yep.
20?
That is
Yep.
Only
So
one of
that's
those.
we're gonna be able to do what I like to call save scumming, which will use save quits to keep that as many chews as possible and check any checks that we can't get. Now with a hammer, we can still get a lot of checks, so not gonna be seen as much here, but
Oh, so all the dungeons are in their vanilla locations. Okay, I wasn't sure if the
Yes.
flag was turned on that mixed up the dungeons. So that's good to
No.
know.
Yeah, no dungeon shuffle. Yeah, again, our goal, Cubs and I, who kind of built these settings, we wanted to just try to make it where you could crank out a race of this an evening for basically all skill levels, to where in the course of 1 week, we hosted an entire 76-person tournament. And by the end of it, no one was really burnt out on it. It felt good, and we're hoping to do another one of these next month.
Yes.
I want to try to convince
I'm
like
excited.
random communities everywhere to do that.
It's a lot of fun.
So for someone who wanted to get involved with these tournaments, how much prior experience? Obviously, you want to play through the vanilla game for something like that. Of course, you want to do that, so you know where everything is. How much experience, though, in terms of doing tricks? How accessible are the tournaments as long as you have a basic knowledge of where things are in the vanilla game?
Well, if you're looking to do it competitively, there is quite a few tricks you're gonna want to know. Like in the beginning, I did getting to the man on the roof without a hook shot. There's some tricks that are enabled that you'll definitely want to learn. There's the where the piece of heart is in the windmill. That's always one that's enabled. Most people learn how to ground jump so that you can get through the Deku Tree basement without having to go the long way. That's kind of some basic stuff. But the nice thing about randos are anything can happen. So, you know, if you arm yourself where you're comfortable enough and you understand, you know, where the items are, some of these, you know, staple tricks that we use a lot, you could find things working out for you. But they're also just fun in general. Like, obviously you should join them to have fun. And the more you do them, and the more you get involved with the community or watch randos, the more you're gonna learn.
Yeah, randomizers,
That's
I've
awesome.
always said, are inherently, I mean, obviously you get to showcase them a lot on this show, but at the end of the day, like, speedrunners, we take things and we always want to see, like, oh, how quickly can we go through it? And it's fun kind of making gambles and balancing against, like, what do I think my opponent's gonna do? There's a lot of research you can have involved in that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, randomizers are just puzzle games. It's just, all right, you start off the day, you have nothing, and you are, by the end of the day, gonna have a completed picture of how you got to the end and you killed the pig in this game.
Yeah, I've been doing something similar each week. It's not a randomizer, but we've been, a bunch of friends and I, we've been doing Breath of the Wild 40 shrines every week. And we all end up doing like different
Yay.
shrines and different strategies and things like that. So,
Dude, that's awesome.
cool.
I know we did that for
Love
Mo-Man.
that.
Y'all were involved.
yeah, this was all your fault, basically.
That was a lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah, I almost wondered.
I love things like this where it's like, yes, there's an aspect of how can I move fast? How can I route, you know, well, but it's still going to be different every time, and you can, you know, put your own flair to it. Especially with with the 5 dungeon settings, we saw so many people do entirely different routes from each other. And you know, that could really affect your finish time, which dungeons you're going through.
Now, the first forced instance of having to use the bomb shoes here. The Megaton Hammer is a great item because it compensates for lack of explosives almost all the way. So you saw she was able to blow up all those walls. She could use the plant bombs with the strength she picked up. This one, you have to blow up the ice. You can't just hammer them. So she had to stand over them, just drop the bomb shoes into both of them, and now she can make her way to Todongo.
The question is, will I be able to hammer the opening to Dodongo?
It's so finicky. Yeah, and this is good with the hammer because it's also an infinite resource as opposed to bomb shoes, where she's not going to pick up more bomb shoes like out of grass or anything like you would with bombs. She has 20 of them. She brought up wanting to save scum them, so we'll see how much of that she might try to implement going through the run to get as much usage out of those as possible.
So do you all have like a funny moment that happened? It could have been like during a multi-world or a tournament. Was there anything really particularly humorous that's ever happened to you during these randomizers?
Oh my god.
I'm like, where do we begin?
Yes.
In the oh gosh, this here. In the beginning stages of the multi-world, it used to be, this is maybe more of a Spike story to tell, but it used to be where when someone would send you an item, you would receive it immediately no matter what you were doing. Which meant sometimes if you're hovering over a gap, you could get sent an item and it would make you go falling all the way down wherever you are. There's infamously falling down the fire temple is not a good thing, and in the early stages, Spike was doing a multi-world with some friends and got sent an item as he was hovering across the top of Fire Temple, forcing him to fall all the way down.
Oh my god, no! Because I'm just holding up this like little 5-pack of bombs and just falling down all of the fire temple. My friends were freaking out like, what happened? I just fell down all of the fire temple. I'm glad we thought of the same thing. That's still my favorite Zooter moment of all time.
That's one of the greatest, yeah. That's my default to always think of. Also, just like any crowd control of this, the crowd controls for these are great. Great.
Oh, yeah.
Chelsea and I have done a few races of them. And there was one race where the crowd just kept us in Forest Temple for over an hour because they kept taking arrows from us, and you need arrows to beat the Forest Temple. So as soon as we would get to a spot where you needed an arrow to progress, the crowd would yank it from us.
Like real jerks.
Good humorous moments like that. Uh-oh, I apparently we really wanted to look at him.
He's like stealing your Z-target.
Oh, there's...
Oh, well,
there's our
okay.
bombs.
Oh, really?
Now, do we really need those?
I mean,
You're not in a race.
it does technically lock a handful of checks at this point.
It does.
Plus, you can ground jump with those.
As we mentioned earlier, there was a race where I routed and I didn't grab my bombs, and it worked out. There was another instance where there was a race and I did the same thing, but bomb chew bowling is 2 checks that you absolutely need a bomb bag to be able to do. You just cannot play that mini game without a bomb bag. And that had my hard blocked progression in there, and I just thought I was big galaxy braining, and really I was little peanut braining.
Little peanut.
There's some kind of irony with the bomb bag being on top of Dig Dongo's
Right,
tower.
yeah. Like, yep, it's right here. Because
Literally right there.
and that's why Nukes is talking about, like, on these 5 dungeon settings, literally 99+% of seeds, you're going to end up doing Dodongo's Cavern. Because bomb bag is all you need. You can even, if you got, like strength, plus some bomb chews, you can do it with that. If you know some crazy steps, you can do it with just bomb chews.
It's also just such a quick dungeon to fly through that, oh, well, I was supposed to back walk and hang off that, but
Yeah, that's weird when it pushes you off like that.
Link went flying instead.
I'm sorry if this has been asked before, but what is the maximum Skulltula for tonight in terms of items?
Tonight I only turned on 20 just because I know for like a showcase like this, finding skulls, if I had to get hard locked into finding 50 skulls, it can be a little... I just don't think it's the best to showcase this, but...
No, that's a good call, because you know how it goes. If it's possible and you're counting on it to not take 5 hours, you know the game's going to give it to you if you have that setting on. So
Yes.
I respect that.
Yeah, it's
So
something on the...
normally we're gonna see at least up to 30 in tournament settings. A lot more tournaments I feel like have been turning off 40 and 50. That's not always the case, but I feel like I've been seeing that more and more.
Yeah, multi-world tournament definitely utilizes it, and we left on 40 and 50 for the blitz settings. I think for the next tournament, we're gonna have them off. We're gonna try it. Because some people feel like you should never commit, because that's 50 Skulltulas that you have to kill for at that point for one check.
You'll see there, another way you can utilize the power crouch stab is use your hammer and then you can just stab these boulders in here. It's way quicker. Not way quicker, but it is quicker. Also found out Ravage Village has our Song of Storms.
Oh, so you're only one dungeon away from that.
Yeah, we're only one dungeon away. We don't know which dungeon because why would I waste my time reading? But
So I'm trying to think of the dungeons in which don't count for this. So Beneath the Well doesn't, Gruta Training Ground doesn't, and Ice Cavern doesn't.
Right.
correct.
Okay. Right.
That's all
just,
of them.
Just double checking, because
Yes.
you know sometimes you'll think about all the dungeons and it's like, well, wait, what about this? So
Yeah, so reminder for anyone who's maybe joining us recently, we are doing Ocarina of Time Randomizer 5 dungeon settings, where we have to complete 5 total dungeons to get the bridge to Ganon's Castle. So far we've beaten 1. We're gonna be heading to Fire Temple soon. See if we can beat that. And our free medallion that we got in the beginning does not count towards that total. For anyone who was wondering about that as well, you have to actually complete the 5, not have 5 rewards. Oh, there's Greg.
Oh, does that count?
Oh!
We're not gonna get him.
We're not gonna get
I mean,
that.
would you all count it in a prediction?
I'll leave that one up to Nukes. I don't know if you would count that or not. We saw him. You're not gonna
We
go get him.
saw him. What was the? I mean,
I would say yeah. I
comes
would
down
count
to
that.
how is the prediction worded?
Well, we find Greg.
Oh, we
Greg
found
did
him.
what
Oh, we found him. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. There
We
you go.
did find him.
We found Greg, so there you go.
We know where our dude is. Big sitting there. He is getting his tan on. I don't know if you did your tan out here.
A volcano.
Right. Seems like an inopportune place to do that.
It's kind of more like he's chilling in a sauna.
Yeah. He is
Getting his
losing
sweat
all the
on.
weight right now. Nice cleanse for him. Getting his monthly cleanse on.
Well,
I feel like he found like 6 purple rupees. Nice, 50
yeah, we've
bucks.
done a lot. If only I had a bigger wallet.
I think the prediction gets much more live if it's will we see Greg, because collecting Greg could be a whole different endeavor, but finding it kind of makes it a little more 50-50, I think.
Yeah, give you more of a
agree
shot.
with that.
I'm glad we at least got to see him. Wave high. Wow. Wow.
Do you want to find another person?
My gosh, can you send some out? Can you Venmo me that purple rupee? That looks great.
Oh, goodness. I can't think of a seed where I didn't find Greg last. That's why it's so rare when I don't find Greg.
Oh, that fish has got to be boiled.
My gosh. Anybody want some grilled fish right now? Jabu might need it.
It looks so fresh and delicious, according to the game.
Oh, I don't think I can. Shoot.
Oh, you can just drop down and go back through Goron City, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
Look at you. Yeah.
Nope. I was like, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah,
A
they
little
actually.
bit of bad routing there.
Yeah, they actually like 6 months ago found some absolutely bonkers setup to get around that with a glitchless jump, but I've never bothered to learn it. It's very seldom you have to use it.
Someone in the chat said this seems fishy.
Who?
That's
I just
great.
want to know who left that fish there.
Right?
Like, the fish didn't venture them himself.
Might be a dark tale. So the fish made it, their owner did not. You ever just fall in a volcano? My gosh.
Yeah, that could be bad advertising. It said it smells so fresh and delicious or something like that. And I'm like, I don't think that's fresh, no.
I don't know if that counts at this point. A lot of good items. So yeah, DC down. You got a good shot at
We have
fire.
another shot at this.
Yeah.
All right, so we are coming up on the top of the hour soon here. So just so y'all know, probably about 5 minutes or so, we'll take our first break just to keep everything at the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's just enough time to get over here. We'll probably get like the first check in the fire temple, and then we can cool down a little.
Check our Bolero fire. Yep.
I appreciate the puns here. See, I love having folks on that appreciate a good pun, all right?
Oh, very spicy in the ball game.
The song of the seed.
Let's go, dude.
We're
Where
gonna
them
have to
cows
sing to
at?
some cows.
No, this is only appropriate, Nukes, because again, I don't think we've had anyone on before playing Zooter with cow checks enabled. So this is a very unique thing to you.
See, I'm telling, not enough people make cows a thing. Like, let's make the cows happen.
I love it. I absolutely love it. We'll put them on next.
Stop trying to make cows happen, Nukes.
Next month, Blitz tournament settings. We're turning off 40, we're turning off 50, but every cow.
Well, I said, so the multi-world tournament has, hello? Can we please? Has a thing where,
Ooh, great quick spins.
this little nugget, okay.
Nugget?
The little chicken nugget was going away.
I'm gonna borrow that. That's a really good name for like a creature in a game. This little chicken nugget.
He looks like a burnt chicken nugget.
Well, I wish the like still looked like pancakes in this version.
God. Oh, I know. I always thought, look at those. That's just a short stack from IHOP right there. Those enemies.
In Zelda 1, yes.
Yeah,
and we would
they're
always
just a little
talk
short
about
stack,
IHOP.
dude.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, they're some of the most annoying enemies to kill in Zelda 1. They don't die. Oh, no.
Okay, Chad. What is the worst Zelda enemy? And this is for any Zelda game.
Blue Wizrobes from Zelda 1.
I was about to say, I think the Wizrobes.
Yeah, they're pretty
Or
awesome.
Patra. Or Patra, the expanding one. The one that, like, expands in and out. That's pretty miserable to deal with as well, too.
From this game, I hate the ice keys.
Ice keys,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
this game is, the ice keys are so annoying. And it's so hard, like, nah.
I don't like Morpha, like, as a boss enemy in this game.
Very, very annoying.
Casually the Morpha fight is not fun. Whoops. All right, looks like we're gonna get one more check in here before we take a break. Let's see if this is our boss key.
Yeah, Lionels from Breath of the Wild would qualify as a pretty tough enemy. Yeah.
I think they're difficult, but they're fun.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
agree.
that's true. I don't feel like any of the enemies other than maybe the ice keys are really difficult in this game. Like, they're just kind of Ooh, that's shiny. That's a shiny place.
So now we're in a position we can do Fire Temple. We've already done Dodongo's Cavern. And we can do Forest Temple. So that's 3 of our 5 dungeons right now.
And that's the second of the Holy Trinity to be able to defeat Ganon.
Did we want to take a break then, since we're at the top of the hour?
This is a good spot, and then we'll go deeper into the Fire Temple after.
All right, you count down the timer so we can stop it for you.
Oh. Yes, stop.
Yes! Countdown! Yes!
We'll remember that. My goodness. Poor Richard.
Richard, stop it!
Richard, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the lack thereof of countdown there. All right, right, folks. Again, follow Nukes, twitch.tv/nuclearreaction. Again, !RNG for that link. Before we go on break here, remember, folks, that Random Number Generation and GDQ Hotfix is brought to you by viewers like you. Your subs, gift subs, Amazon Prime subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support our weekly Hotfix content. Thank you so much for supporting our shows. SGDQ 2021 online is July 4th to the 11th. Prize submissions are now open. Go to GamesDoneQuick.com to find out more about submitting prizes for the event. And with that, everyone, get up, stretch, hydrate, and we'll be right back with Random Number Generation. Welcome back to Random Number Generation. I am joined here by Nuclear Reaction running and Spike Vegeta on commentary, and this is Zooter 5 Dungeon Nukes on your count. Let's get right back into it.
All right, let's explore the fire temple in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, that was just a beautiful countdown, Nukes. I love that. That was good. That was good.
I'm sorry I didn't just, yes, go.
Yes.
Yes, do the thing.
All right, Richard, yes.
Yeah, God, I really want you to like get a run into like a live GDQ, whenever those happen again in a few years. I don't know. We're close. We're maybe close.
I was in Fleet Fatales.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then like they're like, all right, give us a countdown. Okay. Yes. And then you just start going.
Speaking of Fran Fatale, since we were talking about it as an announcement, Nukes, do you plan on submitting anything?
I've thought about it. I'm not sure what I would submit, but I probably should. I should.
Playing something right now.
I am actually submitting something myself this time, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. I was shocked.
Do you want to share what you're submitting, or?
Yeah, I'm submitting a Forbidden Memories 15 card showcase.
Let's go.
So I'm gonna prefet the deck at the beginning, and then I'm gonna give myself a mercy kill timer. I'm going to give myself a mercy kill timer, and if I'm not done, I'm cutting the run off because you know how Forbidden Memories.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty fair way to play that.
I like that. I hope that gets in. I just feel, well, I just did Zooter at the last Frame Fatales event, so I felt weird. This is my one and only.
This and 5 golden pigs.
Oh god.
Yo,
5 golden pigs.
Yeah.
Estimate an amount of time. We have no idea.
I'll sit there with my scythe. We can put a mercy kill timer on that one too.
Yeah, maybe it's like golden pigs within like.
Maybe. So, have you ever considered doing a mercy kill 5 golden pigs?
You know, I am open to things. Like if you wanted to do one run and 5 golden pigs, that could be a thing. I got openings still. I'll have your people call my people when this is done. You know, just things we're talking about while Nukes here is scaling up the fire temple pretty fast.
This is a little scary here.
Job with time management. Oh, obviously not supposed to be in here without a Goron tunic. She's gonna have just enough time. She's routed this out. Get the door. 5 seconds to spare.
That's still always a little spicy. Oops.
Calculated.
It's about knowing which rooms you're not exposed to intense heat. And logically,
this will be the first time we're showing off a ground jump here. Ooh. We're using this bomb here so Link can just whoop, get up there. So I have to push that all the way down. We use these a lot in Zooters to just get around different areas quickly.
Yeah, and again, that is for sure a glitch, but again, they're like in almost all instances when there's a ground jump, there is a glitchless method that's way harder that you can do. So that is one of the very first tricks you should always learn if you want to get into Zooter.
That is definitely the first trick I learned was ground jumping. It's also used in the Deku tree a lot of times to get through there without going through the basement.
Yeah, that was a trick I also learned too. It's not so bad. Honestly, if there was ever a reason to buy a shield, if I absolutely need a ground jump, that would be a moment where I would buy a shield, but I don't really do that, so.
Telling you, I used to be a never buy a shield person, but I saw the light.
Crouch
Oh,
stabs
no.
and ground jumps are too good.
Yeah.
I don't know, what else did you used to run, Nukes? Like, are there any speedruns you used to run that you don't run anymore?
The Zooter is my one thing.
I know you've shown interest
yeah.
in potentially getting into other, like, potential. You talked about stuff with, like, 3D Marios and whatnot.
Ooh.
But I've never learned any, so I.
Right.
You know.
There's nothing to Mercy Kill yet.
Yeah.
If you ever want to learn one of the 2D Castlevanias, that I could do, but those games are very stressful at times.
I say I've actually never have played a Castlevania game.
What?
I've never
Oh.
have.
Even Spike's played 3.
Yeah, just played one this last
They
year.
just look. They look too sweaty.
They're very sweaty.
Oh my
They're
God.
Like that is a game that would make my palms sweaty, arms spaghetti.
Having to dig here a little bit. Nick's already seen 3 of the 6 items in the Fire Temple so far. And just counting out,
Yeah,
knowing how
no.
many keys you got.
No key yet.
Have you all considered adding Keezy to these flags? It's so much fun, I feel like, when you don't have to worry about the keys. So I either play Keezy or I play Key Sanity. Like, I don't go between the two. So I was just curious about your take on it.
So I like Keezy in multi-world settings. Just because it gives you more freedom to move around. So like when I do multi-worlds with my community actually every weekend. Most every weekend. And we always play with Keezy for those just because it lets, you know, if you are waiting for items from someone else, it gives you a lot more checks.
Yeah, so
But I
it
find
takes-
like with normal Zooter stuff, especially competitive, key counting is definitely something like that will impact your routing and maybe like decisions to skip areas.
I'm definitely with Nukes in that regard. It's really fun to have Keezy on, especially for multi-worlds. It makes, like, some dungeons are, like, really bad value. Like, Water Temple is so diluted with keys. Now, all of a sudden, Water Temple's like, oh, it's got like 11 items in there. That's pretty sick. It's probably all trash, but...
Way more valuable.
Still
That's
looking
like
for
the
this
fun
boss
part
key.
of Zooters though, is that you can toy with the settings so much that you can really customize it and keep it super fresh, even if you've played hundreds of hours like we have.
Yeah,
The other
love
day
that
I did
idea.
100 skull bridge where you had to collect all 100 skull tokens to spawn the bridge to Ganon's castle. Oops.
A lot of patient play right there, yeah. Because if she had gone for it, that slug absolutely would have just knocked her all the way down that pit.
Oops, we gotta... Here. Alright. Not a fan of this, but...
Chat was talking about, I assume these are folks who regularly watch your stream, and again, I made sure to put your link in chat there, that you marathon a lot of different games. And when we say marathon, you're doing like fresh playthroughs or even like semi-fresh playthroughs of stuff. And someone said for you to add the Castlevania series to that, what have you done so far in these types of marathoning streams?
The big one we did was the Zelda-thon, which was pretty much all of 2020. I played through every single Zelda game, except a few exceptions. I did play Wanda Gamelon. I did play Faces of Evil. Did not play the Tingle games. Did not play Three Swords just because I didn't have people to play with, but that was my most recent endeavor. Right now I have a stream goal to unlock a 2D Mario-thon, which I have never completed a 2D Mario game, nor have I never played SMW, so I'm real excited for that. I hope that gets met on my stream.
Yeah, Nuke's going through all the Super Mario All-Stars collection games. I know Sky would be interested in those.
Oh, definitely. Let me know if you ever do the shuffler again.
Dude, we need to do that. We need to conquer that shuffler.
Ooh.
I'll do it again. I know, I finished it.
I want to play through them partially so I can do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I finished that in like 5:30, and they're like, "Sky, how?" I'm like, "I've played these for the vast majority of my speedrunning life."
It helps when you've run them before, for sure.
Yeah, especially Lost Levels. It does help. SMW, though, I can't pardon that game. That game's got its really bad spots in terms of speedrunning.
It's so satisfying to watch, though. I think Mario games in general are just really satisfying speed games.
Nice little strat right there from Nukes, dropping all the way down. If you hold forward right there, it just kind of puts you perfectly back to getting back on the regular progression, as opposed to having to take the elevator back down.
The game is being a little rude here with our boss key. Putting it in the deep fire temple, which you don't like to see.
It could still be where the compass chest is, though, I think. So if it's there, that's not too bad.
Yeah, 3 opportunities left for this boss key.
Oh, no, I would not make Nukes run Bubsy with that shuffler. No.
God.
No.
Never again.
I like having Nukes as a friend. No, that is a bad idea. I played enough Bubsy. I'm good.
That's a game that I actually have really no idea what Bubsy is.
Oh, no.
But I feel like I don't want to know.
No.
It's pretty bad.
No, I got up to stage 9 and I'd seen enough.
But did I mention that I loved Wanda Gamelon?
That's good, though, if you did like Wanda Gamelon.
Dude, I'm with
Unless
Nukes. We played the remastered version, but like, Wanda Gamelon was like, it was goofy.
It was
fun.
a good time.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute. I liked how you had to, like, you know, go get different items and bring them and kind of solve what to do.
It's kind of just one big fetch quest.
Did I play it with the intended controller? No. Did that maybe affect how I felt about it? Probably.
Yeah, I was like, looking at the context, also just thought the load times were so much better, the hint system's way better. They're like, okay, we want people to somewhat enjoy these games.
So here's the thing. We still have 3 checks left in Fire Temple. Only 1 is a key. I think since we're here, I'm gonna just go ahead and beat Deep Fire. We need more items anyways, so...
Oh, I see how it is. You'll do Deep Fire, but child fishing?
See!
No, we can't have that here. I'm just hustling.
No, and yeah, there definitely is like a sense of, there are certain items that you leave and competitively you do this, you have to have the mindset, I'm never going to get that. If that item was the progression, then I'm just gonna lose to that one.
See, for me, Deep Fire's usually a spicy play I make anyways. I think a lot of people opt not to do Deep Fire.
Oh, yeah.
Which has actually won me a few races.
Really?
Because if there's a good item, Deep Fire, a lot of people don't bother to go Deep Fire, and that has been put the edge, gave me the edge, I guess.
What about the boss key and the location in the water temple?
Right, there's like, that's kind of the fun part about both fire and water temples in a randomizer is that you can find the boss key very, very early and then basically just go straight to the boss. So then it puts you in this dynamic where, am I gonna go past the boss key? I understand Nukes' call here also that she's already all the way up here. There's literally one item left here at the top and then Volvagia, that's it.
So I guess my question is regarding, maybe it has something to do with the way this game is. Have y'all considered, and when I say y'all, I mean the folks who developed like these flags and these randomizers and such. I've heard rumors and rumblings about it might be possible to leave the elevator up enforced. Is that something that is of interest, if it is possible?
Yeah, I know.
sorry.
They've been talking about
I
it quite a bit.
think that'd be interesting because forest, especially in 5 dungeon settings, dang, didn't pay off. You see this in 5 dungeon settings where you have to go through Forest Temple, and a lot of times you just have to trudge through the whole thing every time. And I think it'd be a really interesting dynamic for competitive Zooter that if you had the option to just almost immediately go to the boss, do you take that chance?
Yeah, kind of makes it another dungeon like that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of value potentially.
There's already a linear dungeon. It's called Shadow Temple. You know, especially if you can't use major glitches, Shadow's very linear, and you really can't get to the end that easily. So, like, making Forest at least slightly more interesting, especially in the scope of 5 dungeons. I feel like that this is the most interesting category of having that elevator up in Forest could make a pretty big difference. Just something to think about.
Yeah. I definitely would like to see it. At the very least as an option, like, again, the nice thing about randomizers is you can choose which settings you're using when you make your seed. So it's not, you know, if you don't like that particular option, you just don't turn it on.
By the way, I'm loving these hot fairy strats here from Nukes and Fire. Pardon my pun. Sorry, not sorry. I love these strats here from Nukes here with the double fairies here. So when that timer goes to 0, Link will collapse as if Link has lost all the health, but then suddenly the fairies will come back up, and because of the wonderful double defense that we have, the timer... Wow, look at that jump!
Yep.
That's also a lot more complicated than it looks as well.
I'll say that me getting that right away made that look very, very simple.
Well done.
But that's normally you need hovers to get here, and we're just gonna bypass that so we can beat the dungeon.
Yeah, sorry, right there. Nuke's equipping bomb shoes and Deku nuts. So what she's gonna do is try to. Volvagia has 2 different hitboxes: the one flying around and the one you play whack-a-mole with. Whichever hole that this flies into, which will always be this first one right here, she's gonna drop a bomb shoot into the hole and then time a nut. I'll give her some serious time.
Fortunately, Volvagia popped up in the hole I was bomb chewing, so...
Yeah, I'm not able to hear it, so I'm assuming a number of those hit. Yo,
yeah, they all
hit.
hit.
Back down.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, nice. Wow, what a good fight. Hell yeah. Yeah, that was actually
So
really,
normally
really
with
cool.
the Master Sword, that takes 4 cycles. And each cycle you have to watch Volvagia fly up and fly around the arena. So it definitely cuts down the time if you use strats like the bomb chews, or you can do that with bombs, placing them in the hole.
I also love how you killed it with a normal slash. Like, the damage was perfectly routed out. Were you able to get with just like the 1 slash, skipping out on the death animation beforehand? Now you got another fairy for safety right there.
Yeah. Pretty good fire
Dang.
temple.
Nukes, you are gaming in this one. I love it.
Let's see. Now, we don't know what this is since I didn't read the pedestal. It is...
I mean, does it matter if it's a
that's what we
medallion?
were
Oh,
hoping
well,
for.
we have Song of Storms.
We have Song of Storms now.
I think that's where the lights are going to be.
You're thinking they're going to be storms locked?
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go ahead and save quit here so we can grab that real quick.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Um,
Got a couple of the Kakariko checks. Are you
Yeah.
at 10? You're almost at 10.
yeah, I don't have 10 skulls yet. No, but I can go sing to Impa's cow. And I
Oh.
want to prioritize the cows here, so...
You know, when you put it that way. That's not so candidly when I go sing to Impa's cow.
We're right here, so we'd also do the adult shooting gallery while we're here too. So
Yeah, I agree with the chat here. The routing here has been stellar. Nukes is paying very careful attention to all of the items obtained so far and kind of going in a logical routing around those. So.
well,
Uh-oh.
Yo, if this thing starts doing the Darunia dance, I'm gonna pop off.
No!
Saria! No!
She's trying to give you advice. She's trying to tell you where the go mode progression is. No, Link, I got your lights right here,
I
girl.
didn't even know that you had to say no to her there, because I've never done that before. Worth it.
Yo, health. Gave you a nice kiss. Increased that max health.
Smooch from the cow.
I want to once again give a shout. It's like bomb shoe strats. A lot of people have like seen Nukes do that and think like the bomb shoe strats. Oh, it's a relatively small area that you have to actually nut on the bomb shoe there in order to get it explode and actually hit the hitbox. It's not just anywhere in the hole. It's like a corner of the hole. So that she timed all those right and got it. Really good stuff.
That was a big learning session to learn that. That's I would say that's one of the harder bosses to do quickly. Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
No, we don't have the song for that, but...
Yeah.
Nukes, you realize if this was a main event GDQ and you played Saria's song for the cows, that you would be getting the Saria text in your donations and I would have to read them. Oh, goodness.
Din's Fire, pretty good item that Nukes found right there, locked behind the bow. That is going to be hard required for her to get into and beat the Shadow Temple if she so desires to make that one of her 5 dungeons. Gonna need Nocturne and Hover Boots to complete that, though.
Sky, now that you said that, I know one of these memers in chat. I have a lot of memers in my community. Someone's gonna, and I have text-to-speech for donations on my channel. Someone's gonna do a dono with that.
Well, it supports streamers, and I'm all for support. So there you go. And again, please, y'all, if you haven't done so already, please give Nukes a follow, !RNG. We'll give you access to that link. Please go give Nukes a follow. Excellent stream. I frequent it. It's a very good time.
As we said, we do a lot of Zooter on my channel. Definitely my main game. Also doing right now Month of Mario, featuring the Mario Party Bash, where Spike and I are playing through almost all the Mario Party boards, minus 9 and 10. But
We don't talk about 9 and 10.
we don't talk about those.
Yeah, we're
It's a
almost
lot
at
of
the We got
fun.
1 board left in 2, and then we'll be starting up 3 right after that.
A lot of big gaming, though. Oh!
Wow, we just need Nocturne.
Oh my gosh, it's the Shadow Temple starter kit.
Oh
We
my.
need the song, though. That's the only thing stopping us from doing the Shadow Temple.
I'm trying to look at what song locations are left. The Composer's Grave.
Gonna go
It's
get
gotta-
one here.
Maybe that's what's in the well then.
Composer's Grave, Ice Cavern. We'll have to see.
Oh yeah, because you already have all those. Yeah, I guess it's either she's about to get it, it's the Composer's Grave, or it's the Ice
Well,
Cave.
now-
Well,
More options. More options are
That's
starting to...
interesting. That's cool.
all right, so
Do we do a Mido skip here just to flex on him?
yeah, you should just go flex on him. This is another skip, chat. If you want to get into Zooter, you should learn this. And this method right here that Nukes is about to learn with or show off with this lineup, then use either bow or hook shot.
Hold on, I don't know what happened there. What is it? Okay, I don't know what I was doing. There we go.
Nice.
Easy.
Nice. Yeah,
So
ground
logically, we need, Saria's Song or Minuet to get over here, which we have, but It's just a nice little trick.
So yeah, if you're gonna learn 2 tricks to start out, ground jumping and Mido Skip are definitely 2 I would recommend, especially in a 5 dungeon seed like this.
Yeah, because you don't want, sometimes there'll be really gross logic in these where, oh, you have to beat these 3 extra dungeons just so you have either Minuet Forest or Saria Song to just warp around, or to get around Mido. And you don't want it to come down to that, honestly. Kind of cripple your routing.
So is it possible then, I guess I shouldn't ask this because it makes sense, that an item that you might need, Nukes, right now may be in Spirit? Because now you can push the block?
That is definitely possible, and that's Spirit's honestly a good loaded area to go check out. Obviously, right now we would love to find Mirror Shield because that's going to give us access to our last 2 dungeons to complete, but there's other items too out there that would be nice to see. The Kokiri Sword is a big one. That's required to get into the Deku Tree. We play with closed Deku Tree in these settings, where you need to show Mido the Kokiri Sword to get access into there. But if we can get that, that's a very, very quick dungeon, especially if we're in Go mode. We could just go in and use Dins and drop down to the bottom right away. Like Mirror Shield would be good, but doing Spirit and Shadow are both going to be long, and we've kind of had a bunch of long dungeons right now, besides Dodongos.
Yeah, it was unfortunate Fire. The boss key was basically at the very top. Because otherwise, yeah, you could have grabbed the boss key in the early parts of the kingdom.
Yeah, we do have full access to Shadow because we just got Nocturne there during the Sheik check there.
So also need to equip the nuts. Deku nuts are honestly super powerful in Forest Temple. You're gonna see us using them a lot right here to stun the Stalfos just to get a good start of the fight.
The technique Nukes is learning is using here to kind of bait the Stalfos to let their guard down. So you'll see her stab, stand up, stab, stand up. It doesn't work 100% of the time, but it's a pretty good technique to be able to kill them pretty quickly. You know, nice. Forest Temple with already the double blooping.
Well, at least we know Greg's not in here.
Nah, our boy Greg, sitting in the sauna.
He's have a little R&R, you know?
But yeah, with that, Nukes is, I mean, you are technically 2 items from Go mode. Gonna need those light arrows with them from there. Either Mirror Shield or Kokiri Sword definitively gives you Go mode. Could find Rudo's Letter plus Boomerang to let you beat Jabu. Could find Long Shot and Irons to let you beat Water.
And that's such a nice thing about these 5 dungeons is, you know, you can choose whatever dungeon. So if I get more items while going through here that can let me do other dungeons, I could opt to go for one that's going to be faster. Or I can even, sometimes I'll continue, even if I'm in Go mode, if I know I only have long dungeons left, I'm going to keep looking for items if they're on the way. Just so that way there's the possibility that I get, for example, the Kokiri Sword, and that will pay off and I'll save time in the long run.
Forest and Shadow Temple, she has full access to beating them, so she's probably going to go through each of them, but like there are like 15 to 20 minute dungeons. Deku Tree, you can go beat that in like 2 minutes. Yeah. You've got Din's Fire and everything, especially if you're in Go-Go mode. And the nice thing about in Go-Go mode, Go-Go mode. Yeah. Because at this point, Ganon's going to give her a hint on where the lights are.
It's a tough decision because, so like we're a Mirror Shield away from being able to do That's tough because you'll have to take a chance to go in there.
Yeah.
You know, like vanilla.
I would say though, so we're definitely routing wise right now. What in my brain, what I'm thinking of doing is I'm gonna full clear forest. We'll go full clear shadow because we know those are dungeons that we can complete, so we should do them. Get closer to that 5 dungeon completion mark. Afterwards, it's definitely a really good idea to go out to Spirit and at least start it, since we know we're only 1 item away from beating Spirit. There's a lot of checks there. It's definitely worth the time investment. If nothing pays off in there, we can then go out to GTG, which is also a lot of checks. So routing-wise, that's a pretty dense area to go to. It would be in our best interest.
You're kind of banking on literally any of those items at that point, so I think that's some pretty good routing options.
Unfortunately, it's just a little short.
You can see her right here utilizing the hover boots that, obviously, casually, you're not supposed to have the hover boots right now. So allow her to kind of bypass one little section of the dungeon.
Because normally you drop down by the gilded chest that I'll point out later, and you have to fight an additional room with some bubbles. Is that what those guys are called? Bubbles?
I think they're actually, yeah, they are canonically called bubbles.
So it's got 2 of those in there that you need to defeat to open a door to then get in here. So it's just a lot longer. That's just a little. A fun thing about Zooters are finding ways to utilize items that you normally don't have in different areas, so that you can complete dungeons faster. Such as the hover boots here, or as I said earlier, like using Din's fire in the Deku trees so you can break the webbing right away and just fall down.
Yeah, if you want a shortcut to what flags we're using here, so it's the Blitz tournament plus cows and beans. We were talking about cows and beans earlier.
Oh, good old cows and beans. And that little bit of spiciness to the settings tonight.
Someone said, isn't that just chili? And I'm like, you know what? I think you're right.
Oh, now I want chili.
The chili settings! Oh, that is now what I'm gonna call this.
The chili settings.
I love that. Thank you, whoever said that.
Chili
I love
Blitz,
that.
baby. Chili Blitz.
Chili Blitz.
Oh my god.
We're doing a Chili Blitz. Oh my gosh, that is now what I'm gonna call it. I hope that becomes a term.
Yeah, that's
I like it.
gonna join this weekend's Chili Blitz tournament. It's gonna be a grand old time. God, I just want some chili. Oh.
That would be very great Super Bowl themed, you know, Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Blitz
yeah,
tournament.
yeah.
The
Yes.
Chili Blitz.
Yeah. Dang, now I do want chili. That does sound good.
All right, Sky. We talk about this every time you have me on. What are you having for dinner? What are you having for dinner tonight, Richard? What are you having for dinner tonight, Nukes? Nukes and I already had our dinner.
Yeah, we already had our dinner. Wait, zoodles?
Zoodles and
I
meatballs.
make every Monday. I make zoodles and turkey meatballs.
Wait, is it Monday?
It's Tuesday, but there's always leftovers.
Yeah,
Thank goodness. I was be like, please don't let today be Monday. My gosh, no, please.
Honestly, I wish we had enough leftovers where we just ate zoodles and turkey meatballs literally every night. They're so good.
I think Oth and I had, we went and got fresh shrimp and we made fresh shrimp scampi over rice.
Ooh, that sounds so good. I wish I could.
I've been big craving shrimp recently.
Oh, yeah. We've been eating a lot of shrimp in all kinds of different forms. We had shrimp tacos one night.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow, definitely gotta have tacos.
Chat, what did you have for dinner? I ask every night my chat what they had for dinner.
I want to know what we're missing out on.
There's always somebody who says pizza, no matter what.
Oh,
Every time, there's always somebody who's having pizza.
It's a good go-to. There's gonna be someone who's gonna deliver that to you.
This
No,
is how
I agree.
this is how Spike and I converse in real life. It always ends up on food one way or another.
It is the universal. Everybody wants to talk about food.
Oh,
It's just exciting time.
I meant to roll with a Z target, and I hopped around.
Oh yeah, shrimp scampi over zoodles would be good. I'm gonna have to try that. That sounds yummy.
Another utilization of the Deku nuts here are fighting the pose.
They're so
Helps
good.
make them vulnerable again, real quick. We're rocking a very few nuts though right now, which is unfortunate. But
Oh yeah, you were talking about chicken nuggies earlier, and someone in chat just said chicken nuggies.
Yeah.
chicken nuggets.
Could have taken it. Yo, I
Yo,
love
Brett.
that cancel of the Stalfos' attack right there. That was great.
Sorry.
Someone had talked about breakfast for dinner. If I'm doing breakfast for dinner, I'm having pancakes, alright?
Ooh.
We're just going all the way.
Ooh, Spike. We should.
Oh, I'm down. I'm down.
Pancakes.
Oh, I'm down.
I want to make pancakes.
Pancakes are yummy.
I make breakfast for dinner all the time. It's always pancakes, and I actually put madrinas in the madrinas powder, the cold brew powder.
It works
I
so
put the mocha cold brew powder in the pancakes, so it makes them caffeinated and chocolatey.
I have to get the vanilla
It's-
powder for that now. Dang. that's
The
a good
vanilla
idea.
powder is also really good on it. Yes, I big suggest. And if you use promo code NEWS.
Again, you all can find that on Nukes' stream. So here, let me plug that. You can't miss it if you go to Nukes' page. Yeah, if you watch anything with me and Spike in it, you're gonna expect us to talk about food, and they want to have a snack handy.
Oh, yeah. We're going to make you hungry by the end of this. More good utilization of the Deku nuts. Just speed up those pose so much.
I mean, Spike, are you pancakes or waffles? I'm definitely pancakes.
I mean, between the two of those, definitely pancakes. Waffles are, like, I don't have waffles far below pancakes, but it's all about the French toast. It's all
French
about the
toast.
French toast up in
It's
here.
no competition if you throw French toast in, though.
Yeah.
I feel like we're talking about GDQ breakfast all over again.
Oh, God. I am one of those who, like, I will definitely I will be a very simple person and be okay with going to IHOP. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Give us some French
usually,
toast. A late night
Usually
IHOP.
once per in-person GDQ, I always go for late night pancakes at least once.
I didn't think that was gonna make it.
Yeah, the hitbox for it is so weird, dude.
This is one of my least favorite rooms in OOT.
It's just
Because it's just, and if you miss it, it's a whole thing where you have to move around the platforms, hopefully not fall off. If you fall off, that's a whole thing. Chat, I want to know, what's your favorite dungeon in Ocarina of Time?
Forest Temple was definitely my favorite casually as a kid.
I would say casually, I think
Casually.
the theming is really great.
It's really well done.
In Rando, it's a snooze fest because it's just do the same thing every time.
But hey, you got the ice arrows
Oh.
here.
Oh, the text box wasted too much time for those. Normally I'm able to roll to the door.
Yeah, you'll be able to roll all the way over there though in this cycle, so not losing too much time.
Mine's no competition. I like Spirit hands down.
Yes, that's my favorite too, for sure.
Yeah, honestly, for like how they made, because you're like, okay, the game's pretty linear. You're gonna do the 3 child dungeons. Yeah, okay, now we're doing the adult dungeons. They're a little more complex. The popping back and forth child to adult in Spirit Temple, like that was super cool in 1998.
I mean, it just
Yeah.
really utilizes the theming of, playing with time
Yeah,
really, really well.
but obviously Majora's Mask then built upon.
Did you all rent it first before you played this game? I did a rental.
We bought it.
We bought it, yeah. This was like a for sure. Me and my older brother, we wanted to play through this.
Now that I don't have the nuts, you can see how long that takes.
I went from Zelda 1 to this. There was no other Zelda I played between Zelda 1 and this as a kid. And I get to the end of Jabu, and you remember that switch to open up Baronade's door?
Yes.
I didn't know how to use the boomerang properly. Like, I had issues with cutting the tails off and everything. I thought you needed bomb shoes to get that switch off. I almost bought every single pack of bomb shoes in order to get that switch to go off.
Oh my
Oh
god.
no.
Like, little kid me was like, why the heck did they make this so difficult? Because, you know, I've always had issues with depth perception, so I thought that's what they wanted me to do. It took me, like, I swear, 60 bomb shoes to get that switch to go off.
Oh my
It was-
goodness.
I was frustrated
That's-
as all
yeah.
heck.
As
And
a
then I
kid,
played-
I also got stuck in Jabu.
Really?
But at a different area, because when you walk into the room with when you grab Ruto, go across the water, and then you enter the room that has the platform that rises you back up with Ruto. You enter that, and there's no platform, and there's just the Octo Rock, and it takes a ridiculously long amount of time for that platform to come down. So I'd go into that room, and impatient little kid Nukes was like, there's nothing in this room.
Oh my god.
What am I supposed to do? So I couldn't figure out how to progress because I kept leaving the room thinking that there was just nothing in there.
Wow. That I could see how that could happen, though. I mean,
Yeah, I think we all have stories like that from our childhood where it's probably in our adulthood we're like, oh well, yeah, that's relatively simple to know. But like when it's especially how did anyone ever beat a Zelda game as a child? I couldn't beat Mario World, which was all right.
so in order to enhance my reading, I actually had my parents had bought me a guide that had all the maps from Zelda 1 in it, but it was done grid style, and there was like a ton of reading on what items you should have before each dungeon. They're like, if you can learn to read enough to do this, you can probably clear Zelda. So that's what I did. I upped my reading level, read that guide, and it wasn't one of those Nintendo Power guides. Like this way, it was like a computer geeky type guide thing with all this complicated vocabulary in it. I learned enough between the gridding and that to be able to finish Zelda 1, which level 9 took me a while.
I love that. I love when parents actually realize. Go ahead, Nukes.
I would say I had the same where growing up we had guidebooks for like every game we owned. My mom would buy a guidebook, but I would sit there and I would read it. I would read it all the time, and I feel like I learned a lot of reading skills from playing video games and also playing Pokemon. I played that when I was in like first grade. Didn't have great reading skills in first grade, but I had to learn so I could play the game.
Now, Spike, imagine little kid me. I get forbidden memories.
Oh.
I've been already playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At tournament shops for a few months. Imagine how confused younger me was. when I
Oh
got
yeah,
forbidden
no,
memories.
I was the same way because I played FM as a kid, but I had played the actual card game first, so I was like, what?
Yeah, me too.
Why is this awful?
And then everybody else had busted cards, and I'm like, well, how is this fair?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to enter in the code to get the Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's like 99999. I'm like, what is up with
What?
this game?
Yeah, they won't let you buy like any of the good cards.
I gotta get Nukes if Nukes is ever interested in playing Forbidden Memories.
She's trying.
Oh really? That's awesome that you've tried it.
I tried it. I didn't get it.
All I can say is I'm sorry then.
It was like, I didn't understand. There's just so many different things that I had to keep track of, and then I forget what. There's like certain symbols, and then there's also, in addition to the symbols, there's like females and males, and
Yep.
there's a lot.
it was too much for my brain to like. If I sat down and really got into it, I could learn it, but taking a glance at it, I was like, this is a lot, and I don't understand what's going on.
This seems like trash. And you'd be right. And I just want to remind everybody in chat, it is okay to like bad things. I love
That is
Forbidden
true.
Memories. an objectively bad video game.
And
Same
it is
thing with
okay.
Donkey Kong 64. It's a bad game, but I like it.
It is okay to also dislike what is agreed on as good if it's not your jive either.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's understandable. Like, I dislike the first Banjo-Kazooie compared to Banjo-Tooie, and I know that's, like, heresy, but there's just some things that if you play, like, one thing before the other, you have this experience before the other, and totally, like, warps your perspective on something. So
I think that's
you know?
the entire Dark Souls community is whatever. I hear a lot of people trash certain I'm not big into Dark Souls, but like I've heard a lot of it from that community where people say this one's the best or this one's bad, and it all depends on, okay, but which one did you start with?
Right. Nukes and I, by the way, are with you. We think Banjo-Tooie is the more fun Banjo game.
Oh, by a tiny
Yeah.
mile. I played the first one, and the swimming controls in the first one were butts, for luck.
Yeah.
Utter
I just
butts
think
compared
the
to
worlds
that.
are so much more developed in Banjo-Tooie. There's so much more to them. There's so much more depth. The characters are great. I think the big thing people complain about is the backtracking, but I loved how everything was interconnected.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was super neat.
Yeah, I think for a
It was
lot of
kind-
people, there's a sense of like, I know a lot of people this way with collectathons where they say, I want to get all of the things in this level and then go to the next level. And Banjo-Tooie, that's just not a thing.
No.
You're going to get enough of it and then go forward and find some more stuff. You're not going to get your jiggies nearly as quickly in Tooie as you do in Kazooie. Your jiggies per minute's going to be a lot lower. It's a longer game for sure. But I don't know.
Let's see
I
if we can
really
get-
liked the interconnectivity. It was good. Yeah.
See if we can get a nice clean fight here.
Yeah, so everyone's definitely gonna have different game preferences like that. Oth had for the first time played the Kingdom Hearts series last year, like the entire, like, at least main series, I should say, not all the Game Boy games. And then I'm like, well, which one did you like the most? And he played 3 after 3 had come out. He's like, I still like the first one. And we have both agreed if the first one ever had a randomizer, Oth and I would definitely play that as soon as it was available because we really like the first one.
That Cage one is a ton of fun. I'm a big fan.
I'm surprised there isn't a randomizer for KH1.
There
There's one for
is.
KH2. Oh, there is.
People are working on it now that Cage got released on the Epic Game Store. Now that it's on PC, the modding community has gone bonkers with stuff for it now. Also, want to give a shout out. Snooks did a really good 2-cycle there with Dead Hand. It was something where she stored her jump slash. She got in damage there, but then instead of going for another jump slash power crouch stab, she did a regular slash, and that put it at the perfect damage value to where then it's not going to go back down under, and it stayed up after 2 more crouch stabs, and she was able to get an easy 2-cycle. So that's another really good just like combat strat that anybody can learn.
I did a golf clap there for Nukes because that was amazing.
That was good. That was good. We like it. We like it.
It was very good.
Yeah, because a lot of people that's gonna be like a 3 or 4 cycle. So.
I wonder if Tooie will ever get a randomizer. You provide a good point spike with all the worlds like kind of interconnected. That would make for a very good randomizer.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah, I like Tooie. I know there's a Kazooie rando, right?
That I actually don't know about either. I assume there wasn't one for Tooie because it's such a big game.
And I've heard they're developing, working on right now, DK64 rando.
Yes.
That's a thing that's getting very close.
In terms of Zooter, this was always on my wish list. I don't know if it's possible. Ideally, what I would like for this game is I would like everything that can be completable as a child to be completable as an adult one way or another. But when you go to put the sword back in the pedestal of time, you're in Terminia, certainly.
Oh, you want a little cross rando with OT and MM. Yeah. You
And I
find
want
ice
MM to
arrows,
be-
you're popping off. Yeah.
Yeah, I want MM to be Child Link, and then Adult Link would be Hyrule. So you'd be going back and forth between Terminia and Hyrule. That has always been on my wish list.
I mean, they combined, Super Metroid and Link to the Past.
Yep, and they combine Z1 and M1.
Let's combine Zooter with Majora's Mask. I think that would be really cool. Especially because there's a lot of similar items between the games.
Right.
That's my thought too.
So theoretically, if you find like your hook shot in OOT, that carries over to Majora's Mask.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Imagine light arrows with actual use on it. I loved using the light arrows as an actual item in Majora's Mask.
I know you've obviously done a lot of different Zelda randomizers, Sky. Have you ever considered just busting out an MM rando, just pooping your way through that?
I am frightened because of the amount of checks on that game. I did 100% once. And I remember some of the pieces of heart checks. Again, for lack of better term, absolute booty. Just
yeah.
Yes, that's Majora's Mask is my favorite. I mentioned earlier I played through all the Zelda games this year. Majora's Mask was my favorite Zelda game I played. But I've never done a rando of it because there's just so many checks and a lot of them are very tedious to do, or they're spaced out in a way that I'm like, I don't know how I would feel about doing a rando of that. But if they combined it with Zooter, I think I'd be a lot more enticed.
That's where I'm at too at this point, Nukes. That's exactly why it's on my wish list. By the way, about 4 or 5 minute warning here. We're gonna go to our second break soon because again, it's always good to take a break.
Ooh, gold scale.
Interesting.
Gold scale is kind of interesting to see because it can kind of circumvent the need for the iron boots for Nukes to potentially make Water Temple her 5th dungeon. Either way, she definitely needs the long shot. So, but that's good. She's kind of building up options for where she could find it. And we're sitting here close to halfway through her 4th dungeon, the Shadow Temple, and she's still looking for that item. So, I know, Nukes, you kind of brought up potentially looking at the desert after this, maybe.
After this will be big desert hours. Unless we find something like the Kokiri sword here, which again will let us just rush through Deku Tree, but...
I know another thing I would eventually like, and this does exist. The thing I would love to have here at RNG is Wind Waker randomizer. I don't believe we've had that yet, but I would love to be able to host that and watch that because I've never seen it before either. So that's something that I'm currently kind of keeping an eye out for is doing that eventually.
That's one I've been very interested in, and I think I've heard good things about it, and I've heard that it's been getting better and better. So I think that would be, I would love to see that on here.
Yeah, I've heard Wind Waker Rando is actually like, super well developed. They've had plenty of tournaments for it. I know it got featured at a GDQ Express actually a couple years back in a race with Linkus and Gymnast, 2 3D Zelda speedrunning legends.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Rando still in development, and that's one of the fun things about this show here on GDQ Hotfix, you know? I always like to go back to Zooter every now and then, and some of the more beloved randomizers that we're always going to get those repeats on, but sometimes we like to delve into those lesser-known randomizers every now and then. I definitely would love to do a show on Majora's Mask randomizer, for instance. We haven't had that one on yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you considered just having it on, period? So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I do know in Majora's Mask, Rando, for like competitive play, they understand there's a lot of like really, really long checks. Like people talk about the couples mask all the time, for example.
Oh yeah, and
they just turn a lot of those off. The competitive, to compare, Zooter has about 256 checks in it, kind of on your more standard sets. You got stuff like, say, Nukes has Cow Sandy on. That adds like 8 or 9 checks here and there. Majora's Mask, I think, drops all the way down to like 190 or so, because a lot of them do take quite a while. So.
Nukes, are you in a good spot to take a break?
After, I'll probably complete this room, and then that would be a good spot.
We'll do it there.
About completed here.
Yeah, we're about at the top of the hour here, about a minute away, so just let me know.
Hey, I won the 30-pack of Deku Nuts.
That's a lot.
Which is good. We were out.
Yeah,
so.
Literally out of those.
Which we could use that to beat Ganon tonight. Why can't I find this? This one over, there we go. That always gives me trouble for some reason. All right, this is probably a good spot to take a break before we...
Okay. So just let us know here.
Let me. Now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 would be a good time to pause.
Richard, I apologize again. Oh my God. Richard works harder on the clock, folks. Please give Richard some shout outs. All right, folks, before we go to our break really quickly, as always, remember that Random Number Generation and GDQ Hotfix is brought to you by viewers like you. Remember that your subs, gift subs, Amazon Prime subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support our weekly Hotfix content. Thank you so much for supporting our shows. And Frank Vital, the all-women speedrunning event, will be returning on August 15th through the 21st with Flame Fatal. Game submissions will be open from May 18th to the 25th. Go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatal for more information on the upcoming event. And with that, everyone get up and stretch, and we will be right back with Random Number Generation. Welcome back to Random Number Generation. I have Nukes here and Spike on commentary, and we are doing some Zooter 5 dungeon. Nukes, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, do a countdown here. A professional countdown. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Right,
Really
so
kicking up the cheese on that professional countdown right there. I like it.
We got to resume some lively conversation here, because that's what you do in 20-minute dungeons. You got to have lively conversation, right, Spike?
All right.
And it just happened to be, yeah.
This is an interesting room, though, now, because there's a new way I do this where you come in, you kill the 2 keys right away so they're not flying around. From this step, you kill these 2, and then you can actually just throw the bomb from here. Oops. Well, you time it better, but...
What was that sound, Spike?
Hello?
Oh, the bacon. What?
I disagree with that, but...
Oh, the red rupee of
This is
destiny.
a clean way. Still grabbing these Skulltulas here because 10 and 20 haven't been found yet, but...
Honestly, I really like that you kill the 2 keys, like, at the doorway, because once you go up the steps a little bit, yeah, they get really...
Yeah, that's...
Flying around, be annoying.
And also here, for anyone who doesn't know, you're normally supposed to have a long shot to reach this, what do you call this?
Oh, target.
The target?
Yeah.
So we have to backflip onto the chest so that we're tall enough to reach it. This room without irons, though, is a little oof.
But it's always a little bizarre that, like, that little backflip on the chest, that's actually in logic in the randomizer. It's something when you first play the game, when you first start doing randomizers, you won't think, like, oh, But no, yeah, it's the randomizer can very well expect you to do that stuff. Same with going through this room right here without iron boots, even though the fans are pushing you and pulling you everywhere.
So, good question overall in the chat. You know, they asked what category is being run 5 Dungeon. How did 5 Dungeon become a thing? Whose idea was it, and what do you like about it versus other categories?
How was
I'll
this
throw out the
born?
quick answer. I came up with it, along with my good friend
like, did
Cubs
you?
Rule. Yeah. Yeah,
I
Cubs
was like, I
the one
want
who
to say
kinda cleared it.
Spike was kind of the daddy behind this.
The daddy. Yeah, and I want to make sure I get. So my big idea is that I wanted to promote faster speedrun tournaments. Sky, you've been around the community for a long time. You, Nukes, Richard, we've all been a part of 8-month-long speedrun and randomizer tournaments.
Interesting.
And whoa. Okay, so that gold scale could indicate water temple.
We could do water that's
Wow.
That's interesting. That's very
interesting. That's really interesting. And I think we have to go pop over there and see with the items.
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, that's, again, she can't get to everything, but she can get to almost everything in the water temple with that. If she can find her boss key, that's Dungeon 5, and then we're just looking for light arrows to beat Ganon. Again, they'll give us a hint for that. But yeah,
I have to
to quickly
admit,
finish what I was saying.
Yeah.
I haven't done much water temple with just a gold scale, so I actually not sure. This will be new for me, but
Oh, well, yeah, we'll teach you. Yeah, you're gonna do great.
a
Yeah.
little bit of learning here. Sorry that we interrupted talk about the development of this. I just that was very interesting find.
Yeah.
No, that is. And you got me and Spike here too if you got any questions. I mean, I've done it with a gold scale at least once.
Yeah, once you learn it, you'll realize like, oh, okay, this is actually, there's like one extra thing you'll have to do, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But and that's the cool thing, like, honestly, I love that about randomizers is that almost every time I do one, I learn something. Maybe it's just like from a routing standpoint, okay, I should have routed this stuff a little bit earlier. And not hindsight is 2020, just like that would have worked a little bit better, you know, as it turned out. Just like I'm gonna have better check efficiency, checks per minute or something. You know, or it's this instance where Nukes is maybe for the first time ever, she's gonna go into the water temple with a gold scale. So, but yeah, just to quickly finish what my point was there. Yeah, we've all been a part of like 8-month speedrun tournaments. So I said, let me start promoting speedrun tournaments and randomizer tournaments in this community that are all done within the course of a week. So we call them the Blitz tournaments. And these are the Zooter Blitz settings that Nukes is showcasing for you guys, otherwise known as 5 Dungeon as well, since you can beat any 5 dungeons. And so Cubs Rule and I, Cubs, a member of both mine and Nukes' communities and a big force in the Zooter community itself, came up with like, maybe we should just do, you beat any 5 dungeons, and then we kind of pieced the settings together from there. And we got these. And it makes it to where, theoretically, if you're doing these tournaments within a week, every single night you're gonna have to do a match of this. You don't necessarily want to do 4-hour matches every single night. Like sometimes more standard Zooter settings can get to that point. So we're having a lot of these where like, yeah, 2 to 3 hours. I mean, Nukes is in potentially light arrow mode at the hour 54 minute mark. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. A lot of these races during the Blitz tourney too were like 2.5 to 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Any predictions on the light arrow location from y'all?
There's still quite a lot still out there in the world, to be honest. I would be happy to see, you know, the desert or GTG at this point. Those are places I have access to, so those are things I would like to see, but
I'm still calling the well. That is
the
where
well
I'm
would
thinking.
be, I think that's a popular place. The well, I find the well to be pretty loaded a lot of the times with lots of items.
We
So I
should
think that'd be a great call too. A cow?
Yeah.
If the lights were on a cow.
on a cow, yeah.
That is what I would love to see. But
I agree.
We should make if we're down, if Richard and Sky want to do it, like we should do one more prediction. Do you think the light arrows will be inside or outside of a dungeon?
I like that one.
Yeah, I think that one would be good. There's a lot of dungeons potentially left, stuff like Spirit Temple, Ice Cavern, Bottom of the Well, GTG.
and we'll count even dungeons without bosses, so Bottom of the Well,
Yeah.
Ice Cavern.
If it's
They're watching
child
bean
fishing,
fishing.
yeah.
Child fishing.
Yeah, or like the bean salesman.
The beat, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Just skip that. All right, we need a little more arrows here.
Oh, there's the used cow.
There it is.
That's perfect. That emote is surprisingly usable in a lot of different
Yes,
ways.
I love it. That's like, I think a lot of used pizza's emotes are very like, on paper you're like, when am I going to use that? But you use them all the time.
Yeah. Used you is the best emote on Twitch. I will stand by that. If anybody in chat, if you got some used yous, post them in there. Another one of my favorite emotes that just got posted. I'm not just shilling for my wife right here, but Nuka actually is amazing. It's so good. Here we got Bongo Bongo.
Oh, people come into your chat and try to explain things to you all the time. And they don't know what they're talking about. I needed an emote for that. It happened all the time.
It happens so often. It happens so often.
Woo, the 2 cycle.
Yeah, that was really well done. That is hard to do with Master Sword. Nice quick spin strats right there. Never let the hands get too far away from her. Able to Z target and lock them down. Didn't get any unfortunate fist RNG. So that was another. Your boss fights have been really good tonight.
All right, are we gonna get a medallion or a stone?
Does it matter in the context of this? I should have asked that earlier.
Not at this point, it really doesn't, and that's why I don't read the pedestal. And I think more people should follow my lead, because most of the time it doesn't really matter in these 5 dungeon settings, because you're not trying to complete specific dungeons like most Zooter settings have you do. Just trying to defeat any 5. So like the only one that sometimes really would matter is if you have an important song locked behind completing a dungeon. Otherwise, it's pretty up in the air. All right, I had to think for a second. We are gonna head down to Water Temple. I am gonna grab some checks along the way though, just because again, if we get, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen in the Water Temple right now, and if we can get a few, like a better item, such as that Kokiri sword.
Okay, so according to the poll that we have here, Nukes, it looks like 54% of folks who responded to the poll are thinking it's going to be outside of a dungeon, 48% inside, or sorry, 46% inside of a dungeon. So that's close. That's very close.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty 50-50 money if it's inside or outside a dungeon. There's probably more inside dungeons left in the seed, but those are all obviously higher sphere. So it probably evens out. It's a pretty, I like when I can do channel predictions that are actually pretty even money, pretty 50-50.
All right, we don't have the 20 skulls, but we can at least check the 10 while we're here.
I think right now, I mean, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, one of the worst checks that it could be left is if it's, isn't there a check on Spirit and Shadow Medallion?
Yes, that is the light arrow cutscene item.
Yeah.
Which
That
would mean
would be the worst.
Meaning Nukes would have to beat 2 complete other dungeons, which Water Temple might be one of them. Again, we didn't read the pedestal, so we don't know that exactly right now. But that can affect some of your routing. Like maybe you would aim towards beating another dungeon if you feel like, okay, it's going to get me a song that potentially I know could be required for like light arrows could be there or something.
Just trying to think here. There's a lot of thinking involved with 5 dungeon, like a lot. I mean, I always knew there was, but more so than I thought. Well, hello there, Epona.
All right, again, I'm gonna keep checking checks. I have a lot of the bomb checks down here I haven't checked. They're just gonna be on the way. There is another grotto, the Tektite grotto. I'm not gonna check that because it's a little out of the way here for where I'm going. So I'm gonna opt to skip that for now. That's another nice thing with the 5 dungeon is because you're not required to get so many specific items depending on your specific dungeons. You kind of, I think, have a little bit more freedom to say, I'm gonna skip this because, you know, it's not gonna hard lock maybe anything unless it's my lights or my magic or my bow. And at this point I have a bow, I have magic, so those aren't,
again, sorry, go
no, that you're good.
I was just gonna recap one of the clues that we had found earlier that you had found, and that is that I believe there is nothing in Ganon's castle. So that means,
nothing in Ganon's castle. So we do know that our lights aren't going to be there, and any required items to beat dungeons aren't going to be there. So, which is really, really nice for this. That was a really great hint.
Yeah, so almost guaranteed she's not going to need gold gauntlets.
Excuse you, ma'am. Goodbye.
So, how do you pick and choose your routes? So like you said, you don't do chickens, you don't do Tektite grotto. Is it, I know this is going to seem like an obvious question, but is it directly correlated to how much time it could potentially take compared to other checks?
Well, like, so with, like, in the instance, me checking the Tektite grotto right now, that was just, like, kind of out of the way. and because of what I have right now, it doesn't make sense for me to really go out of my way to make checks.
Sure.
But things like chickens are a popular one to skip because that check can take like 2 to 3 minutes. And spending that much time on a single check is generally something you want to avoid, especially competitively. So there are certain checks like that, and we mentioned earlier the skull masks are often ones that people will choose maybe to skip because it's just going to take so long. And a lot of times, you skipping them, you know that a lot of other people are probably going to make the same play, so you're not feeling as pressured, like, oh, if that's something important, it's likely my opponent will have that.
So what you're saying is if I ever join one of these Blitz tournaments to do all the uncommon checks.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
and that's a strategy. I've done that when I've gone against people that I know are more skilled than I am. I've done things like that where I'm like, okay, I know this person's going to be generally faster. What are checks they'll probably put off that could give me the edge to win against them? So I would make the play to go do chickens early.
I know we have a friend of ours who joined the tournament who made the brackets as well, but unfortunately got knocked out. And they have the mindset on these settings, they never kill a single Skulltula.
Wow.
They will commit to, if anything was on those 5 checks, they were going to lose. And throughout the course of a run, that might save them 2 to 3 minutes over their opponent at that point. Of course, if something's there, it doesn't work out too well. But, I love gambles. I love risk-taking.
All right.
So, coming up,
here
your
we go.
first time doing the water temple with gold scale.
I've done a little bit, so like I'm not complete. I want to clarify. I'm not.
Okay.
Why? Do I have to be closer? Oh, there we go.
Only by a little bit.
Yeah, you just need like a full
Just
extension right at the
the
center
right-
point. Yeah.
Okay. So I know you kind of utilize the long shot to get down.
Yes.
This will be interesting, chat. Get in, Link.
All right, chat. I want to hear your prediction. I want to see a number between 1 and 10 in chat. Where do you think the Water Temple boss key is? Because that's what this is all on. There is one location that Nukes 100% cannot get to with just the gold scale. She needs irons.
So is this? I'm gonna. Oh,
Yeah.
Can you please?
You're going to aim
Oh.
down to the torch at the bottom.
Oh, to get into the second one?
Yeah, so you're going to skip that check for now, and you'll get it normally with the water being down later on.
What is that location, Spike? I'm trying to remember. Is that the boss key?
It's the central pillar chest. Yeah, you want to aim
Yeah,
for the right
because you
one.
need.
Oh, yes, that one. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Nice.
And now you'll swim up to the top. And now you can play this all relatively
Yeah,
normal.
now this is normal. Yeah, I've done this before. Now,
Yeah.
when I came in, it kind of like, oh yeah, I just haven't. This is not a very common thing you see in a Zooter, where you're gonna come in here with a gold scale.
All right, chat. Check number 1 coming up right here.
I think
Yeah.
this is really interesting, though, like the way you're gonna do this with the scale on the board. It's really cool.
The big thing though is if, as Spike said, if it's on the central pillar, we just wasted a bunch of time coming through here. But the odds of that are pretty low, thankfully.
Here's the other interesting part. I'm gonna be an optimist and say you will be able to get the boss key here. If you don't find the lights, then what? Like, what happens next?
Well, then we go to Ganon because he'll tell us where the lights are.
Okay.
So at least we're not running around the world clueless on where to go.
She'll have some direction on where she might have to
Yeah.
go for those.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that setting was on or not, so...
Super cool hover boot strat right there. Hovers are so nice for Water Temple. Again, not supposed to have them at this point. Allowed her to do a super cool little side hop right there and get down to this check a little early. It was not 1 or 2, chat. So it is now a 7 out of 8 chance that she'll be able to get this boss key. No, this is not beatable only. When we discussed it, we didn't like the thoughts of 5 dungeon. Like, we like that people could beat theoretically any of the 5 out of the 8 dungeons. Put on beatable only, it's gonna lock you out of a bunch of those, and then your routing gets limited.
I'm actually surprised that you all aren't using the songs shuffled into different checks, just for a little more variance.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who like those as well.
I'm not a fan of that, based on the fact that warp songs are a way to get around the map a lot faster, and if I shuffle songs then I just never get warp songs. It ends up not being the best. Is this something I can do everything?
Yeah, you can do this as normal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you end up learning just a lot.
We're gonna save
of,
scum some keys here though, because we have to use 2 keys. We're gonna want to keep those.
Yeah, 6 total keys in here.
Alright, we also have Song of Time, so I can do all the things.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing is going to be that central pillar, that hard iron boots lock check.
Oh, I forgot this is how you get this check. I like this. This is cool.
Yeah, the hover boots are really, really nice there as well. There is a glitchless jump that people can learn to give yourself a good lineup.
I don't know why I wasted my time. Oh.
No. So what you got to do is you have to go stand up on that little ledge, the little window right there, and then you jump down and move over.
Learning on the fly.
I believe in you.
Yeah, just jump a little further to the right. You got this. You got this.
Go Nukes. I didn't know you could do this either.
I'm waiting for this to fall.
Yeah, I think it's good. Wait on the boulder cycle.
No.
There you go.
I thought easy stuff. Easy.
This is good. You can now bust out iron bootsless water temple in like tournament settings and stuff.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. All right, there are 6 shots left, chat. 5 of them we have access to.
So where are we going next then? We have to raise the water to get to Dark Link.
Yeah, we still have quite a few checks here in the middle that we'll do.
Yeah, you can now do
pushing the
that
block
check.
here. I can do the other check that we had to abandon.
Yeah, this is good thinking. I like this. See, y'all do this more often. Y'all are pros here compared to me, so I'm just trying to think like how I would approach it. This is so cool.
Always love that hook shot through the grate. I'm just like that.
Yeah,
All the senses.
I do the long shot whenever I have it because I don't know, it's satisfying to me.
Yeah. Could you imagine Nintendo was like, nah, man, you're gonna hard slam into that gate.
What are collision?
What is a collision?
This is a good question from the chat. Can you save scum in the tournament?
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
That is very, very encouraged, honestly.
Yeah,
Especially for things like Spirit Temple. Save scumming the keys is very important in there. Especially because if you don't have Requiem, you can't get a couple checks without being Child Link. So if you mess up your keys and you don't save scum them, you could be locked out. There it is.
Okay, we got it. Whoever, if you guessed 5 in chat, you nailed it.
All right, so we're gonna save quit here just so we can get back to the top real quick. We're gonna take a little bit of a shortcut here so that we can raise the water quickly and go beat our 5th dungeon.
Nukes, where do you think they're gonna be?
Where do I think they'll be and where will I want them to be are very different things.
Right.
I think I agree with Sky, honestly, with the bottom of the well.
Okay.
I just feel like I see bottom of the well all the time being a play. I hope not to see them in Jabu or Deku Tree, because that could be an issue. Because we have to find items to enter those areas. But seeing them pretty much anywhere else would probably be okay.
Yeah, we don't want to see them in Java, we don't want to see them in Deku, and we don't want to see them on the Light Arrow cutscenes. If it says Temple of Time, that is not a good thing either.
He won't tell you the exact check that they're on, but he'll tell you the area you'll find them in. In Temple of Time, there is one item you get there, so you would know hard what it is. That would be the only instance where Nukes would read the pedestal tonight.
Yes.
The interesting one, it would stink, but it would be interesting. Ice Cavern.
Ice Cavern.
But you could do
so
it.
now we have something called King Zora Skip, which is allowed in tournaments. Whereas an adult, you can literally just flip over King Zora. Not flip over him, but you can use a glitchless jump to get over him, so you don't need Bruto's letter to move him anymore. So that'd be actually a cool thing, a cool location for it. I'd be able to show that off tonight.
Nice pun.
It'd be cool.
It'd be cool.
Also, really nice
nice
Morpha
fight.
fight. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't begin to tell you how many times the Morph has gotten away from me, so well done on that.
This is the most, I think this is the most satisfying fight to learn. I remember getting my first quick Morpha kill. It was like, actually, that was one of my first clips of my channel, was me getting that, and just the pop off of getting quick Morpha feels so good.
For anyone playing the home game, that was her third item in water. She just rolled by that blue piece, so there's only one left in water that could potentially be the light arrows. Ooh, the useless medallion.
We will shoot the sun here before we leave. Because that we can do instantly, and if it happens to be the light arrows, then we can go fight Ganon right away. We don't have to worry about finding them.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
also
fair.
just
Also.
a meme. And it's a bomb shoe. The glorious bomb shoe. From
For a
above.
second, I thought at the angle when it first came out, I was like, is that the boomerang? I thought, yeah, but...
I mean, honestly, I'd rather have the boomerang than not have it at this point.
Oh,
Spike.
sure. You like, even though you've picked your 5 dungeons, you like all the options to be there for, okay, the light arrows, I'm going to be able to get to them. I might have to fight through a whole nother dungeon, but I can get to them.
Another okay location, Spirit, would be fine.
Spirit. GTG would be good to see too, honestly. A little bit bigger to shift through, but at least we have access there and can get pretty much all the checks in both of those areas. Not entirely, especially because we don't have Mirror Shield. We don't have irons. So we can't get all the checks in both, but we can pretty much full clear them.
Now, I have a question. When it said it wouldn't be in the castle, does that cover the castle grounds, aka the fairy fountain, where you would need golden gauntlets?
It does not. That's a separate area called
okay.
which is outside Ganon's castle.
Interesting. Interesting.
Which
okay.
we would really not like to see that, because we would have to scour the seed for our third strength, which that has unfortunately been a thing in a lot of the Blitz tourney seeds when we were
Yes,
having the
it has.
tournament, where the golden gauntlets became your key to finding lights, and a lot of the tournament seeds came down to who could find the golden gauntlets somewhere in their seed first.
Y'all, this is the biggest part of the seed right here. Like, I know it almost looks like it's done. No, this is the big right here.
Yeah.
Like, the information from Ganon here, this is the exciting part.
I'm a little sweaty right now because I don't know what he's gonna say, and it could be really bad news. Like, this is always to me the scariest part, is running up to Ganon for him to tell you your Zooter fate.
Yeah, if he says Temple of Time, we are minimum 2 items away from being able to get to those. Mirror Shield and Kokiri Sword, one of those, plus Rudo's Letter and Boomerang. That'd be a tough one.
Hello?
And that's
Or
why
it could
in these
be-
settings, go ahead, Sky.
It could be a cow. Nukes could
Could be
get
a
her
cow.
wish. Could be a cow.
Dude, I'd pop off if it was a cow, honestly. That'd be so good. And it's one of those things where we talk about so a lot of times when you do your more standard Zooter settings, you're kind of already doing most of the game. It feels like 70% of the time you don't even have to ask in for the hint. Because that allows you to play so much more aggressive to your 5 dungeons, it's actually a big deal in these settings to find your light arrows early.
I think something to point out here is the strat here for Iron Knuckles. If you stand at their left foot, they can't hit you.
Yeah.
They just can't hit you. So that's we position ourselves in a way that we can just spam the power crouch right at their left foot.
Yeah, that was really well done.
Make
Yeah,
sure to
'cause
get a save here.
The community lovingly calls them salt and pepper, and they've killed many runners in many races as they climb up. Because they hit very hard.
My heart is pounding right now. I just want everyone to know. I'm very nervous about this. All right, Ganon, what you got?
Right, Chad, here we go.
Gerudo Training Grounds.
Oh, thank goodness.
Okay.
That's a good.
All right. As long as it's not in the toilet, as we lovingly call it.
Yes. Yeah, the toilet is the only check Nukes does not have access to.
So I would probably normally just take Epona over, but I think for GDQ's sake, we're gonna showcase what we call Reverse Wasteland.
Yeah.
This was a trick I could never get down. This was one of the ones that I'm just like, oh.
This is one of the big ones. I'd say once you start getting into serious Zooter, this is one to learn. It can really put you at an advantage. I've lost races from not knowing how to do Reverse Wasteland in the past, because it just gives you access to GTG when normally you don't. If something important is over there, you can get over there a lot faster. I am going to make it daytime, though, for
Yeah, I would do.
my own preference. It's a lot easier to see what we're doing out here. So normally, you come through here the front, you use the Lens of Truth, the Poe shows you the way so you don't void out. But we're going to go backwards so that we can get to GTG without going through Hyrule Field with Epona or the long shot. And we just do this by knowing where the void out zones are. So that way we just move Link in a way that we don't void out. And that's all there is really to it. So it's a lot of it's just memorizing kind of what to look for. What are your visual cues?
That was even skip the boxless strats there. It helps so much if you're able to get a hold of a practice version of this that kind of shows you the void zones, and you end up seeing like, okay, you can get very clear visual cues of where to go.
I didn't even know there was a practice version of this. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, Ocarina of Time
that's,
needs it.
that's partially how I learned, was through the practice version that shows you just being able to visually see, oh wow, that's how much space you have in that area, or that's how little space you have in that area. Really helps a lot.
And another thing a lot of people didn't know, everyone used the long shot there. Nuke's showing off just using the hovers instead. And the game can logically expect you to cross that gap. You need either the long shot or the hovers. Obviously doing
So
all
now
that
you're
in
thinking,
reverse, that's
you might
not
be thinking,
learning.
Nukes, the gate's closed. How are you going to get in? It's okay. They'll still capture me.
How nice of them.
How nice of them to let me in so that I can penetrate their fortress.
So how many carpenters do you need to rescue?
Just the one. Oops. Ooh. That's bad luck.
Yeah, sometimes that guard's just way further over.
She's just in a bad spot, yeah.
Yeah, the pretty standard settings, kind of like starting from 2.0 and beyond, people were like, let's not make you have to
Yeah.
save 4 carpenters.
Again, it's just one of those things that in a, competitively, we want to try to make, you know, stuff that's maybe not. Why am I struggling here? Not as, I guess, interesting or add much to the competitive Zooter scene. So like that got cut out. As I mentioned earlier, Ganon's Trials, which often led to the hunt for the Golden Gauntlets, got cut out. What the hell is going on, Link? That did not go as we wanted it to. The child stealth sequence to get the Zelda's lullaby check got cut out. Now we don't even go talk to Zelda for that check. We just get it in competitive Zooter. So we start off with a free song, which is the ZL song check.
Yeah, and you can turn all that stuff back on. You can play this like good old 1.0 days. That's still an option. But I always think the sign of a good randomizer is when you just have tons of options to make it however you want it to be. All right, so I'm trying to think in my head real quick, how many checks are there in GTG?
Quite a bit, actually.
There's quite a bit.
I think there are 22. All right, chat, give me a number between 1 and 22. Where do you think this is?
A lot of these are going to be keys.
Yeah, tons of keys in here.
I'm very scared it's in the toilet right now.
There's 1.
The odds of it being there are very low, though. You gotta think about it that way. It is very low.
There's 2.
But if it is,
That's a bomb.
we're gonna panic at the disco.
How many non-keys, Spike?
I believe it is 9 keys, 13 items.
Okay, that's not too bad, though. That's not too bad.
And again, if you're predicting 22, you are asking Nukes to go find the items. I guess items could be. Yeah,
that would
is
be funny
the
if
other
the
check.
irons were found before then, like right before then.
Right. Like, well, I guess I'll
great.
just do it. All right, there's 3. Also, didn't say it, but really good job on the reverse wasteland there. That was pretty effortless.
Thank you. Yeah.
I know that was the strat that, you know, it gives a lot of people a lot of troubles when they're starting out, but it opens up routing potential so much more. Like, it's nice this seed, they gave her the long shot, they gave her opponents, but maybe you don't have those. And he says, yeah, GTG has your lights, and you don't have another way to get out there. Sometimes the only way to get there is through the back door.
I assume you can't do reverse wasteland without at least a hook shot.
You can.
Oh, you absolutely can, yeah.
There is strats to get across that sinking sand without a long shot and without hovers.
Oh, I meant to get out of prison.
Oh.
So, yeah. About to say, do you want to explain what happens if you don't have a hook shot?
So if you get there without a hook shot, they throw you in Gerudo Valley. If you enter Gerudo Fortress at nighttime, you can bypass the guards. Their vision is very, very low, where you can just walk past them to get into the area to fight the guard for the key to get in here.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it was good the OOT devs thought of that, because, like, completely casually, you could go straight over, save opponent, get into Gerudo Fortress, get caught, and then obviously if they threw you in, then the player would be soft locked. But instead they had the frame of mind, if you don't have hook shot, throw you back out in the valley.
That's most people do, like, the adult dungeons you actually can kind of do in a little bit of a different order, but I think it's just most people tend to do it, you know, you do Forest Temple, Fire, Spirit, then Shadow, but the game actually, the devs kind of gave you the freedom to actually do those a little bit out of order, out of the usual order.
Nukes is 7 checks deep. She's got 15 opportunities left, 14 that are not Iron Boots locked. A lot of people, when they watch Zooter, this is the most interesting area because this is basically DLC for all intents and purposes. No one came in here casually when they played this game. But yeah, in randomizer you see it a lot because there are so many chests.
Sometimes I wonder about GDQ. I feel like these are either Spirit Temple or Ganon's Tower rooms that didn't get built.
Oh, sure. So they kind of dumped them here. They dumped the ice arrows in here because they, I would assume, kind of ran out of development time and just didn't really know what to do with them.
Yeah, that definitely. Ice arrows feel like an item that were supposed to be more of something.
Well, I think we get to see the full potential of the ice arrows from Majora's Mask.
Yes, I was just about to say that, yeah. That was when I played Majora's Mask. It was so satisfying to see that they finally had a use for those.
Yeah, I mean, you're in Great Bay and you get them and you're like, oh, well, that's wonderful. And then you see what they actually do, and it's really cool.
Checks numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12 are all in this room. Here are the lights. They are terrible. The only good way to fight them is actually with trap stones. It kind of fits right in there with the hitbox. Otherwise, you clank. Is it 9? 8? Those are some arrows, not the light ones.
Some arrows.
We don't want some arrows.
We want the good boys. Number 10.
A lot of keys.
Yep.
Well, you'll be able to folk through the maze for sure.
Choose.
Shoes are cool. We like those. They helped us kill Vivassia quickly. Beat DC before getting that bomb.
Slingshot.
Our first slingshot.
Oh, wow. Well, if for some reason the iron boots are... No, well, I mean, they could be there, or they could, if you find the butter knife as well in here, it could just be in Deku. Yeah, iron boots, I mean. So, just think a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah,
boy.
we're just opening up more and more
Let's
possibilities.
not put that into the universe.
No. Again, the odds are good that they're not in the toilet, so I wouldn't worry about that. They could just be at the end of the maze. That would be epic. Instead of ice arrows, you get the light arrows.
All right, this is not going. Normally, I don't have a problem with that. I have to go back and reshoot this eye because I took so long. Okay.
Oh, these have a timer on them.
Yeah,
it's a pretty forgiving timer overall. There's number 13. More bomb shoes. Oh, Chad, it is getting spicy in here.
Literally.
I'm gonna love when irons are in the center of GTG. Are the check number 21.
I'm getting really sweaty right now.
Oh,
Palms
no.
are sweaty.
no.
I don't like this.
No, I'm gonna say no, because the odds are so wild. No, you're...
That, you know, Zooter's never taken that, you know.
No, we have a separate show for Never Happened Before, right? That's a different show. This is RNG, all right? No.
Zooter likes to go, the odds are low, you say.
Ah. All right, so in this room, we get checks numbers 15 and 16. Again, of 22 total.
I'm just like sitting here wondering if I need to get my irons, where am I going?
Right, and it's always good to do competitively. Think ahead. Okay, what's my next play if they are in there?
Hey, Spike, what was that?
Oh, what that little strat she just did?
No. There was nut.
Oh, a little bit of nut. Always good to find a little bit of nut. Always be fully stocked on your nut, Chad.
All right, the maze. Come on, I want it to be there for nukes. Just.
There are 6 checks left in GTG, 5 in the maze, and then 1 in the toilet. She can do
No
that.
toilet here. No.
Check
No
number
toilet.
17 coming up right here.
I am putting my foot down for nukes.
I'm panicking.
Please, RNG guys.
Please.
We're saying please.
There they are.
That was the problem, Nukes. We didn't say please.
You didn't ask
Always,
nicely.
always remember your manners. Oh my goodness. All right. Now we just got to go make some bacon.
Ooh, a little bit of bacon cooking tonight. Let's go.
Get set up. We do have a fairy with us, which we shouldn't need, but just a little nice security. Again, we already went up the tower, so we don't have to do all the fighting to get up there. Just run up there and beat them up.
Beat 'em up. A replay there on the hot pull of those light arrows. I do know we were also sent a spoiler log for this. While you're climbing back up, we'd like to know where the other items are.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like that.
Let's see here.
I'm interested where those irons were, since we did Water Temple.
Yeah,
Interested in that mirror shield for sure. And of course the Kokiri sword.
And the boomerang and...
Yeah. So, open it. All right, so okay, so let's first check, I want to know where irons are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Iron boots are, wow. Nukes, Death Mountain Trail, Cow Grotto.
The cow!
The cow!
He got stuck in that grotto because he had iron boots on.
Man, he was probably
Makes
rocking
sense.
it, the fashion, though.
Yeah, oh, I bet so. That's quite a groovy cow up there, honestly. He's got a lot of money, too.
Kokiri sword is Child Spirit. The first check you would get in Child Spirit.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, love it. All right, cool.
That could have made for a shorter seed then, right?
It potentially she made her way around. Yeah, so
It
then
potentially-
where was the
yeah.
mirror shield?
But I never had a slingshot or boomerang. I did have bomb shoes, which you could progress in there with, but
Yeah.
typically, yeah. That's also just a weird spot to go.
Mirror
Unless you're
shield.
doing spirit.
Mirror shield was on top of GTG.
Okay.
On top?
The rooftop. yes.
In the
Oh, the
rooftop
yeah.
in Grutal Fortress.
All right, now Nuke's going into the Ganondorf fight right here. She does a nice setup right here where she actually uses the hook shot to grab the edge. Ganondorf, because you're not moving, cannot detect that you are playing with him. He would normally punch the ground. And now she can knock it back with the bottle and start her crouch stance.
Ooh.
I was like, is she gonna one cycle him with the Master Sword?
That was really close.
That was really, really good there for the first cycle.
Oh, that was really good. Shoot. Sometimes he gets you.
Yeah, it's weird sometimes with his AI. That is almost completely consistent.
This is something people point out to me, that they never knew that you could just interrupt his attack with light arrows.
Dang, that was really good. I was like, I didn't know if you had done the one cycle with the Master Sword yet.
I've never done one cycle with Master Sword, no.
Yeah, so he'll give you about 4 hits, and every hit after that is a 2 to 3 frame window to
You know
actually
what?
keep that chain going. Yeah, do it.
I don't know why I saved my jump slash, but we've been hyping up the Deku nuts, and I feel like I always do this for GDQ runs, but something again a lot of people don't realize, especially casually, is you can fight Ganon in this phase with pretty much anything. I think anything, yeah. You can use your hook shot, you can use bombs, You can use your arrows. You can use your hammer. But also, you can use Deku Nuts on his tail. And with 10 Deku Nuts, he'll fall down, so you can move to the next phase.
They wanted to make sure you were covered for anything.
Yeah.
I do want to say real quick, as the seed is wrapping up here, please go give Nukes a follow. That is twitch.tv/nuclearreaction. NUKULAR_reaction.
A lot of Zooter, so if you had fun tonight, if you laughed, this is my streams pretty much every day. We do a lot of Zooter. I've mentioned too, right now we're doing the Mario Party Dash, where Spike and I are actually playing through almost every Mario Party board together. Another really great time if you also like other things Nintendo.
You get the jump slash on him right there. And you want to roll through the legs and position yourself just like Nukes is. Then kind of get right under his bottom side and just stab up and a little bit, adjusting accordingly depending on where he is. That was a really good
time will be when we slash his face here at the very end. Thanks, girl. And time.
Yo, GG!
That was a really good Zooter. I really liked getting to show off, the different items.
We have you at approximately 238.52, so we didn't even need to increase that estimate.
Whoa! That's really good.
Yeah.
Blitz settings are great, but you were more powerful even.
Also, too, if you have enjoyed the commentary, that's twitch.tv/SpikeVegeta as well.
Sure, yeah, you can follow me. That's fine.
What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful setting there. 5 dungeons was great. So, again, Nukes and Spike and Fant will be back towards the end of July. So if you enjoyed this, there will be even more ridiculousness that ensues. We have to wait a couple months. We have to wait till we are done with SGDQ, but then we will see this wonderful crew back here then. So anything else y'all want to talk about before we close here?
I mean, I think we covered it. Yeah, make sure, give me a follow if you liked this content. Again, I do a lot of Zooter. Going to be doing a lot more competitive stuff as well. We got the multi-world tournament coming up. I do a lot of 5 dungeons in general, sometimes with spicier settings. And yeah.
How about you, Spike? Anything else?
Yeah, just get into Zooter. Get into the Discords and whatnot. We're very, I know Nukes, you've talked about it before. It's a very accepting community. Not judgmental in any way, always happy to help out and get people to learn a bunch of things. You're going to start off like going kind of slow through these, and you're just going to get faster and faster, learn, a bunch of different strats. And I think the Blitz settings, the 5 dungeons are really, really fun. Good way to it, for it to not take too long most of the time.
Honestly, if you are looking to get into it, feel free to come into my stream, ask how you can get involved. I will get you the links to get you involved. We love helping get newcomers into the community and getting them set up for success so that you can join in the fun yourself.
All right, awesome. I do want to take this time before we close to thank both Nukes and Spike again. I had a fantastic time with y'all. Always have a good time. Always a ton of information, ton of smiles, ton of laughs. Just awesome. An awesome time on this seed too, Nukes. You destroyed this seed, and I love it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Happy to do it. So before we close here, folks, remember that information on all of our Hotfix shows is available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. From there, you can find out more information about submitting your runs to any of our weekly shows. So first off, before we go Our next RNG episode will be in 2 weeks. We are going to be having keys and etiquette for some Yeet Yachts Pokemon style. That is, they're going to catch Pokemon and check it off as you may remember Battleship. Well, it's kind of like that, except we call it Yeet Yachts for reasons. So yeah, we are looking forward to having a Catching Pokemon Yeet Yachts in a couple of weeks here. Also tomorrow, I am going to be back here on Mercy Kill. Now, you all thought we couldn't get past this week without any Star Wars runs, so we will have 3 of them tomorrow with Covert Muffin against the Timer. So currently the Timer is losing. The dark side of the force is losing right now to the speedrunners. Let's hope that Covert can keep that up for those of you that are runners versus the Timer fans. So yes, we will be having Revenge of the Fifth here on Mercy Kill tomorrow here on GDQ Hotfix. So that does it for me. I'm Skybilz for GDQ Hotfix. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow for Mercy Kill and in 2 weeks for the next random number generation. Take care, y'all.